Hey, Dave, I got it up that we're recording, so yes, that's you, David.
Recording, absolutely.
So what you're saying, Eddie, is that he had additions and not subtractions?
Yes, he picked up some pieces. I once picked up a piece of Purple Heart that lasted for years. I could see it. It was right there, but I couldn't get it out. And that's when I wouldn't go see a doctor for anything.
Cut deeper.
Yeah. Just take an X-Acto knife and get it.
Oh, you guys that are not doing it are really brave.
No, I've done that.
I've done it too. I use the scalpel to do it with because I use that for cutting a lot of my stuff already. So go for it.
It only matters if the knife is sharp.
Yeah, I just use a brand new number 11.
Oh, a bunch of folks showing up tonight, which is really nice.
Eddie, you want to make me a co-host in there? I've already made you a host.
Yes, sir. I'll take care of that at the moment. Okay, there you go.
Well, somebody's expecting thunderstorms tonight.
Yeah, I heard that. And everything else going on in this house.
But it ain't my radio. It ain't my radio.
Yeah, Matt, what you had probably lunchtime, early afternoon. I just came through.
Where you at, Andy?
Western PA.
Where are you, Andy?
I'm a Western
Okay.
PA, about 45 minutes east of Youngstown.
Yep. Same stuff.
just came
Same
through.
lines.
Yeah.
I've had them for several hours now, and it started early this morning north, so it's all good. We need the rain.
Oh yeah. It's past May now. We can go over to Harrisburg and flood that town out. I don't care. That's where politicians are.
Yeah, you want it? You want it free? Okay. Hope everybody had a great 4th of July. It's a day to thank the world for what the freedom we have. So I hope you all got out and did a little something. Or if not, stayed in with the family and did a little something. That's what it was all about. So,
The last 10 years, I've gone out for the 4th of July, and where I live, it seems to be like clockwork. At about 6 in the afternoon, the fog comes in, and you see this bright spot in the sky. That's it.
so they can go really cheap on the presentation.
Absolutely.
Honey-do list for me all weekend.
You made what?
I said honey-do list all weekend.
Oh, all right. I don't have no idea what that is. I have no idea what that is.
And the sad thing is, it's still short.
Mine's 40 years long.
And it's
Life
not,
sentence here.
Keep telling the missus I'm saving it for retirement. She ain't,
Anybody complaining about rain, send some my way. We haven't had any rain up here all year to speak of. Had no snow over the winter either. And it is dry and hot out there.
you're in Idaho?
Yep.
I thought you guys are getting all that floods and high temperatures, or just get the high temp.
We just got the high temps here. I'm down in Pocatello. I'm southeastern part of the state, and it just, we got mountains around 3 sides of us and then desert on the other side. And I was surprised they let us have fireworks this year.
Wow.
It is dry out there. My lawn is brown. I've been watering it and it's still brown.
We'll talk about burn the town down. It will.
It was 105 degrees in my backyard earlier today.
Ow. I'm complaining about 94 over here in Pittsburgh, PA.
In the one room I have air conditioning in here in the house, it's 80 degrees. 83.
Oh, it's better than 105.
Well, it's about 95 here, but that's humidity.
Yeah, but you guys down Mississippi are used to that high temp and humidity. Not us in Western PA.
Well, we don't have the humidity, thank God, but we got the temperatures.
All of it's rough to deal with. If you got to deal with it, it really is. I mean, we've been blessed. I live in Southeast Louisiana, New Orleans, and we've had a few 90 days, but not a lot. Humidity gets us, but if I get up under the canopy and we don't have direct sunshine on the top of that canopy, I do all right. If it's direct sunshine, I'm in a convection oven. So, hey, Ronnie, you out there tonight?
Yeah, I just unmuted myself. What you got?
Oh, man. You know, Billy Dillard just signed in a minute ago. He really did. Billy, Ronnie, I don't know if you knew this, but Billy is the barbecue master and where he lives at. Did you know that?
No, I didn't. Where are you, Billy?
There
I'm right here.
There's
I just
Billy.
found out yesterday if someone tags you that you don't have to release the picture; it goes out to your friends. I didn't post that.
You didn't. Well, I tell you what, worked out nice. I mean, Doug will be so proud of somebody wearing a little short outfit like that.
Yeah.
I think he waited all week for that one.
Yep.
It was a good day. If we'd have listened to the weatherman, we'd have had no cookout. We didn't get one drop of rain. It was a most beautiful day. Yeah.
Oh, it was, and we had a nice breeze. It wasn't so darn wet.
Nice. It was nice.
Yeah.
Doug Rowe, just checking in, but I don't know what I missed. I just heard my name.
Oh, wait, you don't know about this, Doug.
Uh-oh.
I had to go, and if you just checked in, you missed it. Let me see if I can get you back up here. There we go. Hold on, it's coming up right now. This is what we're dealing with, Doug.
Woo, that's my kind of outfit right there.
My.
It's not
Topless, but it is quite revealing. I gotta get
Yeah,
mine.
yeah. No, that's got some appeal to it.
Yeah, just as long as we all had dinner a long time ago. I see a couple of guys quit eating.
So I'm not going to be able to see a lot of what's going on. I'm just going to be able to hear because I just pulled over to log into the meeting, but I'm driving home.
How's the shop going?
It's coming along. Actually, I'm hoping to get home. I will get home in time, and I'll show you guys. I figured out how I was going to run my shop air, and so I'll show you guys when I get there. I'll be home in probably about a little over an hour.
Did you get a garage door?
No garage door yet. It's supposed to ship today.
Wow.
So I don't know how long it'll take to get here, and I don't know if it even shipped on time yet because I haven't heard from my contractor yet.
We got them stacked up over here in Houma. They must be anywhere from 30 to 40 garage doors. They just set out there at the Delta Door place.
Yeah. So the issue I know that they were having was my house was built in '97, and I wanted the garage door to match the other two garage doors that were on there, which I'm assuming are from 1997. And at this point, I probably should have just ordered 3 garage doors and been done with it. But, you know, time and money, that's all we all need, right? Just more time and more money.
Yep. Well, it's coming along.
Yeah.
You gotta work on the AC system. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to build a swamp cooler for the back part of my house. For those of you that live in dry climates, you probably know what that is.
Oh, yeah.
Guys in the moist climates don't know nothing about it. Basically,
Born and raised in Phoenix. I knew all about a swamp cooler. We did not have an AC unit on our house until after I was grown and moved out. And then my folks finally put one on. But I remember as a kid, I'd go to my friend's house that had AC, and I would just be freezing in their house. I'm like, it's so cold in here. Because all I knew was the swamp cooler.
yeah.
That's all I have.
Well, they work pretty good if you got a good one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Cools the whole
Right
house
now.
pretty quick.
Well,
I
you
got
do
one
understand why they didn't have an AC until you moved out. They were saying, how did you get out of the house?
I'm number 6 out of 7 kids. So by the time I moved out, my folks were pretty old and retired and, you know, ready to live the comfortable life and not try to feed 7 kids.
Yeah, I built my swamp cooler out of a plastic barrel and a pump from Harbor Freight and some matting from Home Depot and a little piece of aluminum tubing and a window fan. But it works.
Hey, that's all that matters.
We made one for a bomb dump someplace I was stationed at. And all I heard from the safety guys is that's you can't do that. It's not good. So every time they said that, we unplugged it and turned it off. But somehow it got plugged back in.
Yeah.
Well, I have to keep reverse swamp coolers running in my shop. I got 2 dehumidifiers.
Yeah, when
Okay.
these guys started talking about adding moisture to the air, I'm from Louisiana, we take a slice out.
All right.
It was so humid. My Parfex glue was trying to kick off on me as I was putting it on the wood.
And
I've been down to Camp Shelby, Mississippi, and had to do some training down there. And boy, that was some brutal humidity.
And that's not too bad, that area. But I tell you, it'll roll through. It will get you.
Yeah.
But I served in Wordsmith, Mississippi, where if you walked around in the wintertime, if you didn't have a grounding strap on you, you don't touch anything. You'd see the spark that far away.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's different here in the coast.
Yeah, they joked about me having I had a grounding ring I bought at the hardware store, a piece of S-link chain wrapped around my ankle and dropped down next to my shoe. And I'll say, hey, you got a chain dragging out of your shoe. Yeah, but I don't get shocked. That's the beauty of it. There's all those funny games. It's not funny games when you get the wine popped out of you a few times.
Yeah.
So we got Doug Miller in tonight. Doug, you with us?
Yes, sir.
I saw a piece you did, and you sent me the photographs of it. And
Yes.
And you sent me the link to a video that's on YouTube that you did on your iPhone.
Yes, sir. Sure did. I've got that bowl here to show after a while. But yeah, I do all my YouTube stuff on my iPhone. I don't have anything else.
You know, this week I played around with my iPad. I used to walk with that all the time, and I had the international thing and all. Boss won't let me have all those toys, but I still got the iPad. I videotaped one and edited in iMovie all on the iPad, and I'll show you all that in a little while when we talk about tool tips. But I'm going right along with what I'm seeing on this program. Cade did it. Hey, y'all heard about Cade?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, y'all heard about Cade? Yeah. But Cade was telling us how he did it with his iPhone, and we see a lot of other guys doing that too. And it's a nifty way. Guess what? I'm beating the drum to get demonstrations from you. That's all. I'm just beating the drum. I can't do it. I don't have the equipment. Yeah, you do. And most of y'all, if you can even see us or hear us, you have the equipment you can do it with. It's all right there. You know, remember, what we carry around every day this little thing is more important, more powerful than what they went to the moon with. You know,
Yep.
the computer you have here? Yes, it is. And if you don't believe me, push the button and ask it.
I'll tell you another one, Eddie. Carl Jacobson where he does his pre-recorded things primarily on his iPhone, because the camera on his iPhone is better than the cameras that he uses when he does lives and that kind of thing.
Mine too. I mean, I've got probably 1, 2. I must have 7 cameras sitting on my work table here, different kinds, different grades. The best one is the one on my iPad.
Yeah.
And then my iPhone. That's it. It's better than the rig that's on the laptop. It's pretty good, but those things do. And everybody's got them. So if you want to do a video, go out in your shop, do the video, and then you can edit it in the same program. And we go for share information. When you share it, you can play it. It's goodness gracious. It's that easy. And I'm still waiting to see folks do it. I understand professional demonstrators have to do a step up in equipment. They need that 4K or better camera all over the place. They're coming through a switcher or a mixer, setting a switch from camera 1, 2, 3, 4, and stuff like that. There are several ways to do that at a lower cost. You can't get lower on the cameras, but you can get lower on the production cost. Hey, cut out your audio. Cut out your audio. All right, we're gonna do it right now. All right, I think I just did that. I muted everybody now. If you turn on your system and you can hear that, and we can hear it too. But you can videotape on your iPhone or your iPad, your Android or your DOS-based unit, and they all have access to a free editing program. And I downloaded the one for iMovie on my iPad today or yesterday and sat there and did the whole video you're going to see in a little while. And the entire thing was done with one machine. And I found the bracket to hold it for like $7 on Amazon. And then I put together a bunch of rickety-rackety things I had for camera on my motorcycle and goosenecks and flexibles and all that. And a big heavy rare earth magnet that I had for mounting my switcher, my controller on my other lathe. All those pieces, parts and pieces. And what I ended up with is a really nifty holder for the camera. And I can see it and work with it. And then I found a little chinky remote control. Push the button, it goes on, push the button, it goes off. I'm not going to do it now because it might happen to this. But those are all probables. Again, I'm beating the drum to get more demonstrations. Where's the clock? It's a few minutes after 6:15. We got 50-something folks in here. I'm co-hosting all of our regulars. When I say regulars, we have a lot of turners. I'm back. They get involved each week. And we call them co-hosts, and they all assume a responsibility. Dane takes care of bringing out gallery. We have several guys that help us admit members when members request to get in. We don't turn anybody down. We're not at the point where anything is a problem. Anybody needs to be turned down. I am so tired of clubs saying, we can't let you in. We're going to fill up the house. And then when you go see it, they got 29 people. Filling up the house is open to all interested returners. If you think they're stealing your ideas, don't think that's a problem. We all should be sharing our information, our tips, our hints, our sources, our ideas, our complaints. The ones where you say, don't buy that, it's a waste of time. Yeah, that's your opinion, and it's absolutely welcome here. And would like to hear more about it. There's a lot of times I will see things on this club meeting that I have never thought about in my life. And I know I've been turning seriously for over 20 years, maybe 30 years. And turning before that, ball cutter. Ronnie, help me out. What is it called?
Ball end mill.
Ball end mill. Thank you, Mr. John.
There you go. Mr. John's got it.
Okay. I got a technical question. Do they only come in 3/8 or do they come in the smaller size?
I have a 7/16.
They come in all sizes.
Yeah.
Most of the people.
You
I've
probably
seen
get a
quarter.
2-inch one if you want it.
How big?
You'd probably get a 2 or 3-inch one if you really wanted to, because I'm sure they come in all sizes for milling machines.
Boy, you know, I'd be
They're
scared.
for metal. They're for metal milling machines. Yeah, I'd be afraid too, but they're for metal milling machines, so they
about
come all
gravity.
sizes.
Okay, we have to clarify that that was a joke about getting the big one. Okay, we got to clarify that. If you heard it here, you heard the warning to go along with it. Now, I was thinking about the 3/8 and then playing around with something this week. I found a beautiful piece of steel that would hold a quarter very nicely. And I think I want to develop that and do it just to see. Here's my deal, folks. I get calls every day, all day about wood turning. I love it. Folks call me, we talk about all kinds of things. A guy called me the other day and he says, "Hey, Eddie, how big of a piece can I turn on such and such?" And I said, "How big a piece do you want to turn?" And he said, "No, I just want to know how big can it be?" I said, "Okay, how big a piece do you want to turn?" We were talking Greek because his goal or his idea was the bigger the piece, the better the turning. Boy, did he have it wrong. That's the big doesn't make any difference. Ask your old girlfriend. It doesn't make any difference. It's how it is done makes the difference. If it's trash, it's trash from this size to this size. If you don't have any eye for style, it's trash from one end to the other. But if you practice your art and using a small piece of wood to practice your art or your technique or your ability to work the tools, that's the way to go. I mean, I found a piece in our attic. Get this. The attic gets up there to like 125 degrees sometimes. And when I was ill, my wife packed up all my stuff. And she really thought I was out the door. She packed up all my stuff and put it in containers in the attic. And we're going through some stuff this week, and I found some segmented pieces that have been baked and cold and baked and cold and baked and cold over the last 7 years. And I found one piece that cracked where I have to put it back together again. All the rest of them in really good shape. Little fatigued finish, but you can expect that a piece itself. But the one that's cracked, I'm going to do a YouTube on how to put that back together because it's a segmented ring, 6 or 8 lobes coming in, and it's cracked right down the middle now. Can one of our geniuses, I ain't kidding, can y'all tell me what you think went wrong? Come on, you guys do segmented turning.
It clamped it too tight.
Hello.
Damn, who's that? Who did that? Who said that?
Yeah.
Charlie Bundy.
Charlie, you hit it right on the head. I mean, I took a band clamp and got those 6 pieces to choke down and put wood tight 2, whatever, a wood glue on it. And it went together and I turned it and it sat in display for a long time. A couple of radical heat changes, pow, it came apart. The top and the bottom, but the bottom was held with staves. So, and they managed to stay together only because they were cut on a router with the right angle. But if you can pull it together, it doesn't mean it's right. I mean, what's God said to wood, you can move, you know, and it does. So if you're doing a segmented piece, and I wish we had a demonstration on this. If you're doing a demonstration and you cut out 8 sections, 16 sections, 28 sections, the most I saw was when I got to 64 sections on a ring. He put it all down on a piece of blue masking tape, one after the other and roll. And then he picked it up and rolled it together. And when he pulled it together, there was not a visible crack on the entire ring. Not a visible, there was nothing to pull down. His gain was going to be the wax, the glue between each piece. But otherwise, his fit was perfect. Because if it's not perfect, you could God lets you. It'll cramp down to get there. You might, I don't know if you can stretch it. Yeah, you can. But it'll clamp down so it'll look like it's holding. But the glue only does so much for you. That's all. Matt says his sound crashed. He's coming right back. I guess he made it back as I'm signing just now. So, anybody else turning segments that's experienced something like that? We got to share some information here, folks.
I did some segments one time like that for Christmas ornaments, and I had one of them crack. They were all cut on the same jig. And one of them cracked like you're talking about, and I had never knew why. I still don't. Probably throw it away now. The rest of them all stayed together.
It could be. I used to dumpster dive for a lot of wood. Cabinet shops, they hate to see me come around. I was in there. But sometimes you found wood and you did segments with the seasoned and the non-seasoned. And they move radically different.
Yeah.
And if you got that mix, even with one segment, that'll blow it up. But I like
Gotta
people
be
to
real careful about different types of wood together. All could be seasoned, and two different kinds of wood will move separately.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe that. Sure.
Put together a piece of oh, my mind's going on. Oak and cedar. It's going to be on the floor in a minute because one moves a lot, one doesn't move at all. So, but it's an interesting thing. And folks, I'm leading to that. We're looking for a demonstration on it. We've had some gentlemen, some turners, some ladies turn out some awesome work for us and show us. And this we're getting to. Last Saturday, I sat and watched Cindy Drozd's meeting, and it was a free one. Got to get this. And it was almost identical to what we're doing. Almost identical. She was talking about technique, talking about tools. People were showing their wares. In fact, some of you guys were in that show. Yeah. I said, Matt Harbour, weren't you in that? I thought Matt was back.
Matt's down for a little right now. He said he's going to crash his Zoom and be back.
Oh, okay. But Matt was in there. And we had a bunch of other people that we all know because they're in the club, but they were all there doing the same thing we do each week. We're sharing information. And I love it. Cindy does pay-per-views and gives technique and showing and art and all that. That's fantastic. And then she throws her hat in the ring to do free things for the community. And I like that. That's really good. It makes me want to go to see Cindy more than I do now because she's a lead professional doing this. Bob Grinstead's with us tonight, didn't he? Bob, I think, Bob helped me, but I think I saw a segmented piece you did, and it was on YouTube or Facebook. Bob, are you with us? Looking through here. I don't. He signed in a little while ago. We may have lost him. I don't see him anymore, but I know I checked him in. But he did a segmented piece.
He's there.
Bob? There he is. He's coming right now.
Yeah, I got knocked out there.
Okay. All right. Was that your segmented piece I saw on YouTube?
Yeah, it was. You want to see it?
Yes, I do. That is one beautiful piece. Folks, if you haven't seen how one of these are done, Bob's photograph thing on YouTube shows you how he put it together. And what shocked me was the outcome doesn't look like the input. If you can follow that. This is a gorgeous piece. Bob, if you have it up, we can go to you. I'm going to add a spotlight on it. There you are.
Wow.
There we go. That better?
Yeah. Now, folks, you have to see what he did on Facebook, because the crosses on the sides, I did not see coming.
That's awesome.
Yeah, thanks. I thought it turned out pretty good. I was happy.
Wow. That's some beautiful work.
With it. I'm not too good at carving the handle, but I think I got it.
Oh, I'll take those. That's all right, Bob.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, if you don't like it, Bob, I'll give you
The
my.
whole face looks gorgeous, bud.
Yeah,
Thanks.
it is. It
I
is.
want to
but-
show you the jig that you glue the segments on with. That's what that is. It's a combination square, one of those cheap $3 at Walmart. Normally has a little, it's a 45 and normally has a little level on here.
Yeah.
But you cut all that off, and that's what you actually glue the segments on with. This goes in the tailstock. So all it is a platform, and use your tool rest to hold this end up out here. And then you set the length of the segment wherever the segment needs to go, like at 3.5 inches or 3 inches, or it's all right here on the scale. The main thing is you got to get this lined up in the center or get it cut off, however you want to do it. But anyway, I lined it up in the center. I don't know if you can see it better, but.
Oh, it's beautiful. I mean, I can exactly envision what you did there. And that's, I'd love to see a demonstration of it, but you've got some photographs on the Facebook that will explain it to folks. And he's Bob Grinstead. Now you can see his name on Grinstead, EAD, out of Mansfield, Texas, and look him up on Facebook and see these photographs. And then you'll say, why wasn't I doing that?
Yeah, I like segmented stuff. I don't like to do them all the time, but it's different. It's not really challenging. It's just a different approach, different time.
It is, and it gives you some beautiful work. And we're restricted on using this term, but he uses up shop scraps like crazy. And I know. I just checked before I said that. I checked to see if Kim was here yet, because she'll get a little bit sensitive about that use of scrap wood. But I think we're okay. I don't see Dane popping in yet, so I couldn't say Dane, talk to him about a demo, but Dane will be with us sometime this evening. And we have a pretty good crowd here tonight. Have something to ask of you, for you, by you, for you, whatever, a little bit later on, because I've been toying with it for a while, and somebody called the other day, and it's a regular member that we see each week, but he comes in about 2 hours after we get started. And because he teaches a class at his church on Wednesday nights. And I know we have a few members that do that, and they catch us in the reruns. But if we did a poll, get this, if we did a poll during the program, we're not asking all the members to participate, because those who come to us later on by YouTube, Facebook, or our own website don't get to cast a vote. So we got the guy just plain said it, and they came out with it. It was genius. It was a great idea, and we're going to probably pop into that a little bit later on tonight. So when you see it, that's what it is. And Gerald Avery in Winter Garden, Florida said, please put a photo of Bob Grinstead's segment tool on the website. You hear that, Dave? Dave is our super webmaster, our senior webmaster.
Absolutely. If I can.
I'll send it to Dave.
Thank you.
There we go. Two people getting together. Two wood turners getting together, share an idea. All right.
Hey, Eddie.
Hey, Doug.
Hey, I'm pulling over on the side of the road for a minute. I'm going to snap a couple of pictures. If you guys are interested, you can spotlight me, but I'm driving right past one of our crazy Arizona wildfires if you guys want to see it.
Well, it's interesting.
Not really wood turning, but I bet there'll be some good wood out there afterwards.
Charcoal.
All right, we got to pop Doug up here. All right, and then I got to go back and get Doug again.
Here I am.
Say it again, Bob. Go, keep going, Bob. Doug.
Here I am. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3.
Wow, he's arming. He can count all the way to 3.
Oh, there we go. Oh, I did see my face for a second. Am I spotlighted now for you
Oh
guys?
yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
I
Let me
had
get
you
that
there.
turned around. And I don't know how well y'all can see it on the phone way out there. That is one of our mountains on fire.
What? Just what is out there?
So unfortunately, there are some little towns on the other side of that mountain. One has been evacuated and one is on standby to evacuate already. So
Boy.
that's all high desert out there. And then you guys probably can't see it, but there's a few mountain ranges out there. And after you get about past the first 2, then you start getting actually into the woods. But what
All
you're
right.
looking at is the desert on fire.
Yeah. Well, it burned out your video there for a minute. Now you're back.
Yeah, so out that way, you start getting into the actual woods, into the forest. But this main part of the fire that's burning, that's all desert. Up there. But any old way, I will continue driving home.
Thank you, Doug. We get all kinds of things here. We get weather reports, we got fire reports. Talking about building tools. Hey, I want more of that. If you got a jig or a rig or pattern or an idea on how to do something in your wood turning shop, your shop, whatever, we want you to share it with us. And you see, our super webmaster, senior webmaster, webmaster direct, we only have one master. He will take that information and place it on our website. That's what he does. So, and say tonight you forget about it. Tomorrow, when you think about it, I lost. I'm out. Okay. I cannot stop this screen providing by Ray, HSV AER. You have to stop your screen input. I cannot stop it. Now I got it. Okay. If you go in and you get past our screen protection, you'll mess up the whole show. But we're back with you again. I believe we are. Am I back?
Yes.
You are.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, you're back.
Okay.
Hi, good, John.
I didn't know where that button was. Don't want to experience it again. Hey, if you haven't in hole in the ground, you missed it. SWAT is going to be ongoing this year. Virtually no changes, but they've had to tighten up a few things because of COVID. Nothing wrong with tightening up a little bit. The group that puts on SWAT, remember, it's a congregation of over 30 wood turning clubs. There's no corporation. There's no, they elect the officers each year, but the clubs call the shots. And the clubs do it for wood turning, not to sell a magazine, not to get you to join the club. They do it for wood turning, and they do it so darn good. It's unbelievable. But that's going to happen in about 1 month, and it's going to happen in Waco, Texas. And my humble opinion, it is the finest wood turning program in the entire world, from local demonstrators to international demonstrators. They're all there. Vendors from one end of it to the other. And there's no forced sale. There's no programs where the guy will be there, and the only reason he's up on the stage is to sell you something. I haven't seen that at SWAT, but what I have seen is some fantastic work. I mean, I could sit there and watch some of those turners turn all day long. And the technique they show you. Remember, it's never what they turn, it's how they turn it that makes a difference. SWAT is SWATturners.org, SWATURNERS, SWATturners.org, and that's where you get all the information for registration, find out about the hotels they've sided with. But that's a football game town. There's a lot of room to hang out there. So, and it's really fantastic program. And somebody the other day asked me why I don't promote the other ones. Send me the information. All you have to do, if you'd like me to talk about a symposium or a program or demonstration, is send me the information. And remember, we have the chat. The chat is open all the time during the program, and that's kind of a box you can throw anything in. We didn't put any restrictions on the chat because that's where we're picking up stuff. I mean, here's a video of monstrous segmented turning from Doug Smith. He put it on the chat, YouTube, con, watch, and the code and all that. I got to see that. See, I got to save my chat and go back and look at it later. I'm going to be a little offended if I just stopped and went there now. But that's what we go this for. And Wigstand, there's the boss. And I think she's running out on me. Heard him in Carl, let's see if I get this right. Carl Geary is joined the Wigstand Club. Get this up. Carl Geary is now a live and true member of the Wigstand Club and Wigstand Warriors. And we're still collecting Wigstands. We don't collect them, okay? We're still promoting turning in Wigstands. Collecting is up to your local oncology group or your local hospital. But we like to see you turn out these Wigstands and all the details about the heights and all that other stuff, all those recommendations. They're not hard set guidelines or recommendations are on our website available to everybody. And that's where your photographs go. If you send the photograph in to Dave, and he'll post them up on there. Later on this evening, we'll get into a safety presentation by Jeff. Jeff is in a box with us tonight. He's got that to talk about. And Doug Rowe is on the road, who's just showing us a forest fire, but not the forest, but a wildfire. Okay, and Doug collects our Freedom Pens. So if you've turned a pen you want to give to Freedom Pens, the easy thing to do is just send it on to Doug. His address and all is on our front page of our website. And that's the beauty of what we do. We get together where we share so much. We're not restricting anybody, anytime, anywhere. We're non-commercial, but no restrictions. And these people are putting out there all their stuff. Gerald asked if you, okay, there's two. I'm reading that over again. All right, anybody got any gallery to throw in? I was waiting for Dane to come in and handle that, but if you got a gallery item you want to show, like Bob showed that segment of bowl a while ago, say it right now. We'll pop you in there. Oh, wait. I see where Dane is in here. Dane's checking in right now. And we started a little early tonight.
I'm on, Eddie.
Dane, I'm trying to find you, sir. You popped in, you popped out. Any of the other co-hosts can you to a, all right, now I got him again. Now I got you, Dane, you're in the box.
That'll work.
All right. Where's that background sound coming from? You?
It could be, yeah, it's my fan. Is it loud?
It gets that way. The automatic pickup increases to that from it if you don't know what I'm talking.
How about now?
That's fine. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Right. The way we handle gallery here is you put it in chat. I've got something to show. We go to chat. We pop in it. You put it in there. Dane introduces you. He spotlights you. And then we get to chat about it. And suppose you see something that comes out in the gallery and you'd like to know more about it. Like we just saw Bob's segment of piece. And we told you could go to Facebook and he's going to send us a copy of his tool, stuff like that. So that's how we share the information. You got a gallery item, you want information on it, pop in and let us know. Dane, we should have some folks in there a little bit.
Yeah, we've got a couple here since I've been on. Let's jump over to Jim Selby. Jim, go ahead and start talking and I'll bring you up.
All right, can you hear me now?
Go ahead, sir.
Yes, sir. Can you see me?
Now we can.
Sure. It's a ring holder I made. I'm not sure what kind of wood it is. The spindle was a pin blank. That when I charge a ring holder, it's got a little recess to lay other stuff in there.
So rings and earrings.
What kind of finish you got on it?
Her rings when she's putting on makeup and stuff, she puts her rings in.
It's nice.
It's nice.
I think Brenda asked.
Yeah, what kind of finish do you have on that?
Howard's orange oil.
Orange oil.
Orange oil and beeswax.
Nice. Okay.
It's feed and wax.
Okay.
Thank you. Appreciate you sharing with us tonight. And folks, what we normally will ask when you put a piece up is how big is it? What's the wood you have in it? Even if it's FOG wood, which means found on the ground, any of that. But the main thing folks ask about is what finish do you have? Just to get an idea what and how you did this piece. Anybody else with gallery tonight? And
Yeah, we've
Dane's
got
going to
Carl.
pop on.
How you doing, Carl?
Good. I've got a little, I don't know what you call it. I still have to figure out how to sand the inside of it. I haven't got that done yet, but it's spalted maple with a 3408 finish on it.
Nice.
Very nice.
That's almost bulletproof.
Vase, vessel, or hollow form?
I'm sorry?
Vase, vessel, or hollow form?
Vessel, I guess.
There you go. Those are options. You could sand it with a stick with a bit of sandpaper on it. So I have one of those drill bit extensions that I put a little 3/4 inch mandrel on the end of. So I sand with that on the inside. It's about, I don't know, 6 inches long. But
just like a flap wheel you made out of it, or what?
No, it's
Hey,
like
Carl, I got an example when Matt's done explaining there.
Yeah, I'll turn it over to somebody else. I don't know. I can show
That'll
it
work.
to you.
I'll spotlight myself now.
Yeah, go for it.
So, Carl, here's an idea.
Dane, all we see is black.
Yep, my camera's turned around. So, it's just a stick, and I've got a section of a belt sanding belt wrapped around it, taped at the bottom. I just shove it in there and let it do its trick. But it's real simple to make. Many different versions, but that works for me on my hollow forms when I need to use it.
Right, that's an idea. Don't be hard on it because it will do a lot of damage. Carl, you made the Wigstand Warrior tonight with those stands you did that you donated to your local organization, and we really appreciate that. Thank you.
I actually made the Wigstand Warrior a couple weeks ago with my first one. I just added 3 more that I delivered today that they were very happy to get.
It's okay. It's a continuing project. It's
Yep.
like the Freedom Pen project that never ends. Hopefully it will. We get them back home with. We have to thank them for what they do. I have something here. Gerald says the Florida Wood Turning Symposium will be in Lakeland, Florida, February 18th to 20th. Information is available at Florida Wood Woody. Oh, I'm about to read this. Florida Wood Turners Symposium.com, and that information is on our chat. And you can save the chat. All you have to do is go through the chat block, and in the bottom right-hand corner, a little spot that you can click. Who else we have, Dane?
Let's see. Let's go to David Kingsley. David, come on down.
David, you
How
have
you
to
doing?
talk. There we
Yeah,
have
I
you.
have a hard maple bowl.
Oh, that's nice.
It's almost exactly 6 inches wide. It's a little over 3 inches tall. And
Got some
it's got
beetle
about,
effects.
yeah, it's got about 10 coats of shellac on it.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
good
I'm finally learning how to get a decent finish. It's taken a while.
I think the code for that is a good cut.
Yes. Well, which is something I've learned the first time I logged in with you guys. There was a tooltip on sharpening, and I followed that, and it was like night and day.
Right on.
And getting a much better cut now, and I'm learning that one of the things I do habitually that I'm trying to stop is putting too much pressure on it. Pushing too hard on the chisel. And when I'm easing up on my cuts and letting the chisel actually do the work, it's coming out much better.
That's great. That's good to hear.
Really is great. We're teaching all the time. We're sharing information. Appreciate it, David. Good. Thank you. And then when you comes time for you to share with us, we expect to see it, man. we do. Remember, Dane will put you on the hook for a demonstration that fast.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, Dave wasn't here when Bob Grinstead showed that segmented bowl. Dane, I was looking for you to put the hook on him right then and there. I mean,
Yeah, I should have.
Yeah, but we'll catch
shop.
up. We'll
We still
catch up.
can.
Yeah, my shop isn't really set up to do much photography.
Doesn't have to be. Can you see the lathe?
Barely.
He's trying to get out. He's trying to get out, Dane.
I know. I know. All right, well, let's go to New Hampshire and see what's happening with Doug Smith.
There he is.
Hey, Doug.
Unmute and talk, Doug. Your
Get it,
turn.
buddy.
There we go. Am I all
Right
set
on.
now?
Yep.
Okay. This is a piece I showed a couple of weeks ago. This is my first finished piece off my new lathe. And this, I don't know if you can see the chatoyance and it's a beautiful piece of maple. And I haven't signed it, so the center isn't finished, but just the grain pattern in here, and I'm just pretty proud of it.
How you like that new lathe?
I'm loving it. And
awesome.
Powermatic finally came through, and I got my 13-inch extension, bed extension. So getting ready to put that to work.
Right on. That's good. Good to hear.
Good to hear you. All
Beautiful
right,
piece.
Doug. Thank you. Beautiful piece. I love that piece of wood. Do you have a matching piece?
I do not. This came out of.
Okay. All right. We're done with Doug. I mean, he.
Oh,
doesn't
okay,
have
so
any-
you
doesn't-
want the
doesn't-
magic piece, Eddie, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, you have a purpose for this.
Beggars can't be choosers.
That's right.
Thank you, Doug.
Very
You're
good.
welcome.
All right. Well, let's go to that other Doug in Kentucky.
Kentucky?
All right.
Well,
Doug, no video. All right.
Nate, you got to put
Oh,
your
I
video
got
on,
you.
Doug.
Gotcha. There it is. I don't know how I hit that one. Anyway, went in the shop the other day and was just going to turn whatever I grabbed the first piece under the lathe, and it happened to be a piece of camphor. And I turned the backside thinking it wasn't much because the blank didn't show me much. But as I got the backside turned, I started to see a few things. This is the bowl that Eddie was referring to a little earlier. I did the video on this, turning the inside of it and finishing it. I did all that video on my iPhone, did the editing on my iPhone. Almost 2 hours worth of video that I got down to under an hour. But anyway, that's the inside. There's the outside. Let's see if I can get it for you. Right
finish.
there. Finish is wax. It's a wax finish. That's all that's on here. Did what I usually do, use abrasive paste on it. Took my time, really worked it. Then used put 2 coats of the Hampshire Sheen High Gloss food safe, toy safe wax on it. Nice limb inclusion there. Can almost see right through here. There's some crotch figure that was in here. Really pretty, but most of the crotch figure went away as I took the inside of this bowl out. But anyway, came out pretty nice. It's
That
9
looks good.
1/4, 9 1/4 by 2 1/4.
Yeah, it's some pretty grains.
David
bit of
Kingsley,
OG shape there.
yeah, David Kingsley's in with us right now. He shared something with us a minute ago. That's the result of good cutting, Dave. It's not the result of good sanding. That's the result of good cutting. He was just talking about how it gouges. That's a bad name for a tool. And especially rough and gouge. That's an awful name for a tool. But if you can slice wood, you can slice with anything.
This was only sanded to 320 with sandpaper anyway. And then the abrasive paste went on after that. So
I would say get out of town, but you're out of town with that one. That is beautiful.
It's gorgeous.
Thank you all.
And he's got a video up on his YouTube on his YouTube channel right now. Not what he does, how he does it, and that's beautiful. That's the sharing we're talking about. Thank you, Doug.
Thank you.
Doug's been in the box with us several times, helping us all out. Really, watch Doug's demonstration because the technique he uses for slicing is unbelievable. I mean, there is no gouging out of wood. There's no tearing out of wood. And that what makes our work beautiful is when you can slice off that grain and peel it off, you get such a great finish to start with, and then you put a finish on it. What I'm looking for is a demonstration from one of our turners, senior turn, beginning turn, and novice turn, whatever you want to call them, one of our turners on uphill and downhill. I had a call from a guy this week that said, we are so confusing when we talk about this uphill and downhill stuff that he doesn't understand it. And the kick was, he says, he lives in Tucson, they don't have any hills. So, let's talk about uphill and downhill and how it will affect your work. And the guy was really a nice guy.
Where was he from, Eddie?
He said Tucson.
Well, gosh, put him in touch with me.
You got hills?
Well, yeah. I can take it. We're both, if we're both in the same little teacup, I can take him up on the mountain.
If he's in a flat Tucson, I can't imagine he's in Tucson, Arizona.
Okay.
Yeah,
Tucson,
right.
Arizona's got some decent mountains down there.
Well, yeah, but we live in a teacup. It's flat in Tucson. We're surrounded
That's
by
true.
the mountains.
Yeah, once you get in Tucson proper, you're right. That is pretty flat, but.
Right. That's our geography lesson tonight. But he was confused about making cuts, and he asked us straight up. He watched somebody's demonstration the other day. I think he said it was Cade. Watched the demonstration, and he was doing something that was swept out, and he went down, and then he flipped around, went the other way. And this guy, he says, I'm terrible left-handed. I am too.
Practice.
It's not a left-handed move. It's a tool move. If you got to change hands, I'd have to give up turning a long time ago. Because that's not what it's about. It's how do you use the tool to make the cut? What direction do you go on? And that's what I'm trying to explain to folks. All right. I'm going to jump.
It's difficult being
Go ahead,
left-handed
sir.
in a right-handed world.
Yeah. Go ahead, Doug.
Eddie, if we've got time after a while, I can do that. I can go get that set up and do that after a while.
We more than welcome it, sir. More than welcome it.
Okay. Fine to have about 15, 20 minutes.
Great. Okay. Hey, Dane, I get credit for that. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
All right. All right. Let's pop in here. I'm going to spotlight it for 1 minute so I can explain something to you. And this is where we're going. We've been talking about this for maybe 6 months or so, and that is to expand the program. And the purpose isn't to really expand the program. It is to expand the program into people who don't normally or can't normally watch or participate in the club meeting. Can you move it to another day? Can you move it to another time? I do school on Wednesday nights. It's my night to watch the kids, whatever your reasoning is. If you wanted to expand, here's the deal. We keep getting requests to expand it. Now I'm going to propose this, and to make the change, I need to know what to change or what to add. And here's the way we're going to do it. Note your preferences in a chat portion of this Zoom meeting. Like you on Saturdays at 12 o'clock, that's fine. Put it in a chat. And you're not limited to one choice, put all your preferences in. But if you're not with us for this meeting and you're watching on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, one of the other days, and you still want to have input, you can. All you have to do is send us an email to worldwidewoodturners@gmail.com or go on our website. There's a contact sheet on our website, and Dave will get the information from you there. But if you want some adjustments made, if you'd like us to consider adjustments, that's all you have to do to get it made. Remember, this is your wood turning club. It's not our club, it's your club. It started out that way. We plan on down that road, and if what we're doing conflicts with what you'd like us to do, let us know. And if you're just happy with it, it's okay. Remember, if you cast a vote or you don't cast a vote, it's all up to what is suggested, and then we throw it right in front of the club. And if they say nay or yay, that's where it goes. And that's just online with us. Now you'll get nasty. I see somebody says left-handed people are the only people. What? All the nicest people in the world are left-handed. And then Brenda says, I disagree. Y'all lighting the fire here.
I agree with that.
Okay. We had one left-handed kid in our family, and she got to sit on one particular corner of the dinner table, so she would bump arms with anybody else.
I haven't seen any left-handed gouges for sale. Does anybody sell them?
There was I saw them. They were right next to those left-hand crescent wrenches. Right next to them.
Oh, I missed it.
Did y'all see the guy? You probably know the guy from Canada that he turns his lathe backward. He's left-handed. That's Sprague. I think it's Sprague wood turning. That is amazing to watch this guy.
Yeah,
He's left-handed. The lathe is tapped backward and everything. It runs completely backward.
I've thought about doing that.
I've stood on the other side of my lathe for a hollowing thing because my shape and all that, I couldn't reach over and do it. But it was okay, but I tell you, it messes with your mind.
Well, up at John C. Campbell, the furniture shop, they were turning everybody turning from the back side of the lathe with the lathes running in reverse. So the tailstock, the drive side of it was on the right-hand side instead of the left-hand side.
Why?
I don't know, but that's what they did. They had everybody turning on it backwards on all of them. They had 3 or 4 lathes set up that way. In the
I guess you couldn't
section.
do no drilling with the tailstock. The drill bits would be backward.
Yeah.
They were doing furniture pieces, spindles and stuff like that for legs and stuff.
And you go home to a regular lathe and you get to learn again.
Yeah, that would really, sometimes the brain doesn't work right, and tomorrow I'm going to stand on the other side of the lake and just imagine what it's like.
Well, for spindles, it would work just fine as long as you had your controls on the side you were working from. So.
Okay. It's something to think about and look at. If you don't think about it and look at it, you'll never know. So that's great.
Probably turning from the back side of the lathe, it puts the wood back on instead of taking it off.
I knew that was coming. I knew it was coming. And I thought it was coming from Bob.
I did that one time.
That's how I fix all my mistakes.
Yeah, right.
I did that one time. I had a project for turning a whole lot of bowls out of 2x6s. And I had one particular, some of it from a particular 2x6, and I couldn't get it to cut worth a darn. So I run the lathe in reverse and went to the back side of it, and that 2x6 stuff cut like you wouldn't believe. Beautiful. It's the way the grain was in it.
I was just going to ask you, was that the grain lead? Because if the grain was leading towards you instead of away from you, it's really hard to cut.
It
was
was
a
the way the
left-handed
grain
tree.
was, and it worked that way. I
It
was
was just a
surprised, but I
left-handed-
thought it was creating too much sanding, and all I had to do was send them the 120, but I couldn't get the roughness out of it until I turned it that particular direction.
Was it a left-handed tree then?
Left-handed tree probably was, yeah, yeah. The wind blowed from the other way, I guess, maybe, I don't know.
You're causing some trouble. All right. Anybody else up for gallery tonight, Dane? We got to get off this tree thing.
Yeah, let's go to Greg Bray. Go ahead and start talking, Greg, and I'll bring you up.
Okay, I'm here. You got me on there?
Yeah.
Yes, sir, we do.
Okay, this week I turned out about 9 of these little things. They're actually flower vases out of sassafras. It's got a little glass tube in it for flowers. And this time of the year, with all the flowers out, the women really like these things. And they do sell real good. And then I got one of these little dishes. And if you look on the edges of it, it's got the little scallops in it. And I'll see if you
Yeah, where did that come from?
do what?
You carved those in?
I actually turn them in. You start out with the log. I'll show you on this in the lathe this way, and then you actually cut this like a football, and then I take the center mark here, and then right there I line up the center, and then a 1/2 inch I go over to each side, and I cut a bead in that football. And then I take and flip it around this way. Well, on the lathe, it'd be this way. And then I cut a tenon on here, just like you would on a bowl.
Sounds like a demo. Already. I think we need a demo.
Oh, yeah,
Dane.
Greg.
And
Totally we do. Totally. That's cool.
That is
Nicely
cool,
done,
yes.
I would be glad to do a demo.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
I would need to talk to somebody, Eddie or one of you. I have trouble in my shop. I just put hardwire Wi-Fi out there, and I have trouble with the cameras and something. So if I can get some coaching, one of y'all call me or something and talk to me and try to get it set up, I'll be glad to do a demo.
All right, great. Why don't you throw your phone number, if you don't mind sharing it, throw it in the chat.
Okay.
And one of us will get back to you, because we have all, I mean, Matt's got 3 cameras running in his shop. Trey's got 3 or 4 cameras in his shop. We have guys that go only by iPhone, like Doug Miller and Dane. So
Right.
we can get you some advice.
Well, I do some YouTube videos, and my grandson videos all of them. So we video them, but then he takes and pieces them together and everything.
Does his magic, huh?
Yeah, and downloads them. He's way more advanced than I am on that. But if we can work it out where I can get set up here, I would be glad to do it. And my grandson said he would come if I did a demo like that. He would come and help.
Great. All right. We want that.
So,
We will work with you, Bray.
Yeah, what you do on that is that you put your tenon on there, and then you just turn this thing just like you would a bowl.
Yeah.
You know, you reverse chuck it, put it in there, and then you cut your tenon on there. You know, and your raised pedestal. It's a pretty cool little project.
So when you're cutting the beads there on the sides, you don't have any issue with blowout of the grain?
Not at all.
No?
I most of the time I cut them with a skew.
Yeah.
But in a demo, I would probably use the bow gouge or something like that, because some people don't like to use that. I like to use something that most people can use. So It just depends. I can mark them
Yeah,
with
I was
skew.
thinking a skew was used too, but yep.
Yeah, skew is the best, and I use Cindy Droz as detail gouge too. The spindle gouge, that's a good tool to do them with. You
Right.
just got them little beads in there, and then you got all these scallops around there, you know, going around this way, and then you just take the center bead and put into your tailstock, not your tailstock, but your headstock, your spur, and then you with your live center over here on this side, you just turn your a tenon to hold it in your chuck.
That's
Yeah, I
like
see
I
it.
do my birdhouse roofs.
I'm gonna try doing that. Thanks,
Yeah,
Greg.
that's and it's a real good project. I have done some, that I made them a little bit bigger, and then right here in the bottom, I put a little dish up about a ½ inch, and you know these little glass candles that the women buy, the Senate, it sets right in there, and it makes a great little candle dish.
Huh. Right on. Yeah, like, is that a piece of holly?
This is actually a piece of oak that fell out in my yard last week, and a piece of oak. But I do them out of holly. I had a bunch of holly, and I did some out of holly.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nice. I like it.
But
good job.
I got something else. I've had a couple of my students call me and wanted to know what kind of light I used on my lathe, because they've been in my shop and done some classes. And I've got a light. I wish I had it in here and I'd show you. But it had, you know, you can buy these lights that has one light bulb out there, and they do all right. But I've got one that has two coming out, and I can put both lights down, one right where I need to and one on the other side, and it gives me plenty of extra light. And where I buy this thing is fly tying. If you go into fly tying lights for fly rod fishing, on tying flies, you'll see that pop up there, and that is the best light I've ever come across on putting on the lathe.
No, that's good. Can you put that in the chat?
Yes.
Great.
Yes.
Great. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Bray. All right. Bill Goff says, my name is not showing up in a from line. I guess he's in there to do a chat. Well, Bill, this isn't the kitchen and my wife, because she talks to herself. On this program, you can't talk to yourself. You can send a chat out and everybody else will get it and it'll say it's from Bill, but you can't add it by sending it to Bill. You got it? I'm messing with you, but that's the way it works. All right. Our safety director, Jeff, is with us tonight, and he's got something for us this evening. Jeff, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready, guys. How you doing?
Hey, all right.
All right. First of all, good evening. Be safe, everybody out there. Hey, I'm a garage sale nut, and I happen to find this whole dollar bowl out there. And you want to talk about some cool grain? It's just beautiful. It's, you know, needs to be refinished, but you know, so keep your eyes open. You never know what you find for $1. All right. So back to safety. Hey, I want to talk about extension cords tonight. Everybody knows extension cords are temporary. Not made to be laid permanently down, not to be walked on. Check out the amperage on it. And don't forget, just because you have a tool that says it's good for like 12 amps, you have a 15 amp cord, if you go 100 feet, it's probably not enough. So be careful out there. Too many fires go on out there, you know, because of bad extension cords. So be careful out there and have a good week and be safe.
Thank you. Glad you mentioned that extension cord. I had a demonstration with a club at a like a VFW hall or whatever, and our lathe would not get up to torque. It just wouldn't do it. And I think it was Lyle Jameson was there doing a demonstration. And Lyle says, how about the power coming to this machine? And we had it in about a 50-foot cord plugged into the wall. And the guy that ran the hall says, you know, our DJ's always got a problem with power over there. It was deterioration of the cable in the building from overloading, he said. I'd never heard of it, but we changed another outlet and everything went away. So if you go to a longer cord and something doesn't work right, got to think about the line drop. That's what it's called, line drop. Pardon me. Okay, Bob Grinstead's already thrown something on the chat here from Amazon. It's a light magnifier, lumens, light, etc. It's up there. It's in fly tie is part of the description of it. So that really does matter. We like to see that. And we can get a Parfix demo, Parfix and Varnex demo in a little bit. And I think we're going to take you up on that. But in the meantime, each week I'm working on something for the group, and I call it a tooltip. And it's driven by what happens on this program. So if you've got a tip or a hint or whatever, and you'd like us to show and share it with folks, all you really have to do is send it to us. We'll develop it, and it will come out as a tool tip. I'm going to get this up here and pop it in full height, and then here it is. Uh-oh, the audio didn't come along?
No audio.
No audio. I don't have any idea why that happened.
Oh, you get to narrate like Mike Rowe.
Yeah, are you fast forwarding or is it regular play? Looks
No.
like you might be fast forwarding.
Cat Matty, on Zoom, there's a switch there that allows you to have computer audio in there. Make sure that's clicked when you share.
All right, under Zoom, under.
When you go to share, there's a little button there.
Oh,
Memory
all right.
serves me right for computer
Oh,
audio.
share sound. Okay.
There you go.
Now I got you. Hey, we're slow, but not backwards. Okay. Let me do this again.
Yay!
There it is.
Hey, it's time for a tool tip. I'm Captain Eddie Castelin. You want to see what I'm suggesting this time? All you got to do it. It's right there. Just watch it. It's right there. This is a chuck I had developed with some jaws on it so I could turn bracelets. A couple of weeks ago we had a little flood come through. The bench it was on fell. This went to the ground. It's full of crap. Really. So I'm going to blow it all out. Then I'm going to start taking it apart. I'm going to take the faces off the Coles jaws and then get into taking the Coles jaws off. Look at this thing. It is just a piece of trash. The water got to it, no way to save it. I'm going to store it in that little gray container across the shop. Yeah, I put a lot of things in there. Now we have the face out. Now I need to take the T-wrench and remove those 8 screws. Now I can do it with the T-wrench, takes a little time, or I can go over and get my screw stick. This is a low torque, kind of low powered stick, not a handle on it so I can't wrench off anything. Or use the T-screw. There it is, we broke it down, we cleaned it up with a Scotch-Brite pad. You see it's in good shape right now, but it's still dirty. I pulled all the dogs up and just rolling them backwards. They come right out, and it gives me something to work with. To work with, I mean, I have to go from number 1 to number 4, see if all the ports are cleaned out. That's the dogs that slide through them. If there's glue or waste or trash or anything in there, it will slow it down. Now I'm going to clean the rest of it. Now here I'm going to take my Scotch-Brite pad on a little pistol drill and clean those dogs up. Now why? I don't like taking it to a wire brush because it will tend to snap out of your fingers, and my fingers don't like wire brushes. So I'll use a little Brillo pad and clean it up. In a minute I'll soak it, get off any residuals. I'm soaking it in my secret mixture. This is Formula 9. Paint thinner. Mineral spirits. I put it in there. This is a water bottle I cut the side out of to make it easy to get in there. I'm going to throw the dogs in the bottom and let them soak for a minute or two, getting latent grease off. Then I'm going to put my chuck body in there. A minute or so later, I'm going to be ready to start spinning this thing. Now, I can make a rig that'll fill my drill that'll turn that handle at high speed, but I really don't need to. You see, you don't turn at high speed in your shop. I put the handle in with it in the box. Watch the color of the mineral spirits change. Is it just going around with hand pressure? But when you're doing it, watch how smooth it starts turning. You get the garbage, the trash, the stuff off the swirls, the stuff off the dogs. Everything is moving, and it's all gone in the bottom of the tank. Oh, guess what? You can reuse that mineral spirits. That's why it's in a milk bottle, so you can dump it back out. Because I put it on the bench. That is my handkerchief I have there. Put it on the bench and ran it a few times to make sure I had all the crap out, or trash out, pardon me. And then we're gonna clean it up a little bit, use the Scotch-Brite. Now clean all the ways in case something's latent that I didn't get off in the soaking. That could be wax, that could be glue, and almost anything. Could be from oil. Yep, oil. Now I'm gonna start putting the dogs back in. Remember, the dogs are numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, and the body of the cast is numbered 1, 2, 3, 4. Remember to start with the right one and go in the right direction. Now I can clean them up one more time, make sure there ain't any trash on them. I just got them out the pot where they were soaking a little bit. I just want to make sure they don't carry anything into the waves. I got the number 1, and I'm putting it in the number 1 slot. The number 2 slot is counterclockwise. Number 3, number 4. Get them in the right spot. See the Band-Aid? I put that Band-Aid around the outside of the jaws. You missed it because I missed it. When I put the Band-Aid on the outside and I wound around backwards, when the number 1 popped in, then I could screw it the rest of the way, and look, it meets perfectly in the center. Now, this is the way you put the dogs in. You can fight it, or you can just get the rubber band. Roll this back out just a little bit. Need a little working room here. And that's when you'll know when you roll it if anything's clogging up or jamming up. And then I'll put the face plates on. Now, I clean the back because see that little groove on the back of that plate? That is what rides into the keeper on the jaws, on the dogs. And if that is dirty, they will not sit flat and proper. I put it back on and I tighten them down. I go moderately tight, and then I come back and put one more bite on them a little bit. I'm missing one screw. I dropped it on the floor. It'll show up in the magnet in a few minutes. Now I check to see if there's any wobble. Wobble is a killer. There you have it. Charles is looking pretty good. Clean them all up. Going to make some new faces to go on for bracelets. It's a good piece of equipment to have. And do not bypass any safeties. They all have limits on how wide they open. Be careful. Number 2, they rate it for 1,000 RPMs. Rated for means stay below. It's like the speed limit. It's not like 35, it is 35. So here, keep it low. Don't get hurt. It's a finishing product. And oh yeah, did you notice I didn't spray any lubricant on this thing? Even that stuff in that blue and yellow can with the 2 letters and 2 numbers for a name, that stuff. I didn't spray any of that on here. Why? I think the metal, when I cleaned it the way I did, and I used mineral spirits, which doesn't leave a trace, it's going to run better. Now, if I think I'm putting something on, about putting something on it, I would probably use the Boeing T9. Why? Because it dries and it doesn't hold dust. You see, anything else that's wet, it's going to hold dust. That is what we just cleaned out. I'm Captain Eddie Castelin, Worldwide Woodturners. It's your place for information.
Okay, I think that stopped. Did it go away and we're on again?
Yes.
Right.
Nice job, Eddie.
You're back on. Great job,
Good
Eddie.
job, Eddie.
All right, and that was all done. Thank you. That was all done with my iPad. No computers, no mixers, nothing else. My iPad. And it actually, what you just saw ran about 8 or 9 minutes. It would have taken me maybe 15 total minutes from the time I took the chuck off the lathe and started breaking it down and want to put it back together again. Now, before I take it off the lathe, if it's a regular chuck, I would take a real fine wire brush and brush off the outside of the jaws on standard jaws, 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, and clean it up. Never, ever will I take steel wool to my lathe. No way. No, I like these fingers. I only got 10 and I like them all. So, but if you clean that chuck, you'll be amazed at how nice it will crank in and out. It really is disappointing to me when I see people, and I've seen this on professional demonstrators, where they're wrestling with those 2 bars or have an extension on their handle to help them torque it out, torque it in. No, if you're going to fight it that hard, you're doing something else wrong, or you're doing something wrong altogether. So clean it. get it working right. And I wasn't kidding about the lube. If you got it clean and you keep it clean, you don't need that stuff. All right, anybody that got a tool tip, they want to suggest one, send it to us by email, put it on our website. We'll handle it. We'll get it produced. If you want to do your own, it's your club. Let's do your own. We have a whole lot. Bray put up that 2-light system is an FTL-230 Pro light for fly tying, and we'll appreciate that. We get input in tonight. Doug Miller is going to do a demonstration for us in a little bit, and we're also going to couple it with a demonstration by Dane. Who's ready now? Either one of you guys?
Doug's ready.
Doug's ready? All right, Doug, let's go.
Okay. Moved my camera. Well, let me just start off. What Eddie was talking about a while ago is it really is so important that we cut properly. There's more than one way to do everything. You know, let me start with that. But really, cutting downhill is one of those principles that saves us a lot of effort, saves a lot of hassle, saves a lot of sanding time. The camphor bowl that I showed a while ago, had I just gouged that out, I would have had to spend a whole lot more time sanding. As it was, I don't think I spent more than 15-20 minutes total going from 80 grit or 60 grit up to 320 grit. So, you know, it didn't take any time because I was slicing very fine on my final cuts. I was making just a real fine cut just to make it as smooth as possible. So let me show you first on a spindle, then I'll show you on a bowl blank. Just something I threw together just for purpose of demonstration. Se that look okay?
Looks fine.
Right?
For those of you that didn't catch it, he's doing this on his iPhone.
Yes, this is my iPhone. I'm in my shop on my Wi-Fi. I've got just a maple spindle here. I pulled it out. It was square just a couple of minutes ago. I don't think you can see everything. It's got some nice grain on it, a couple little spalt marks on it as well. But anyway, it's nothing special. It's a piece of maple. But here it is. And what you see, I've rounded it rough with my spindle roughing gouge. And then I came back and I did these three sections actually with my spindle gouge. But let me show you kind of the difference. It's a difference between going in, straight in, and coming in with this bevel, cutting or riding down that angle, whether, you know, I turn it one way, turn it the other. Now, I'm a little ambidextrous, so I want to go with my left hand going that way. But you can come around and go with your right hand going that way. Let me show it to you. This is running about 1600 RPMs. Got my shield down. I turn the bevel that way, ride it right down. Turn it the other way now. And if you can, well, you can't see the quality of that, but that is at, that's at least at 240 grit level right there. I don't have to go below that, but I would go all the way back, even to at least 100, if not go all the way back to 60 grit, just to make sure all that wood is even.
Doug, we just had somebody on chat ask, if you're cutting so well, why do you go down to 60 or 80 grit? Go ahead and throw this one on your bench. Go ahead.
That's fine. The reason is I want to make sure all the wood is at the same level. I may have a hard spot or a soft spot, or even in this one little cut here, I've got one little place where the grain wanted to pull out just before I got to the bottom. And that 6 grit would make that, you know, it would make it perfect so that I could go right on up, and I would be the same here as I would anywhere else along this whole entire spindle. Does that make sense?
Well, I call it homogeneous. It makes the wood homogeneous.
Yeah, that's a great word. Great word.
Yeah,
I was gonna
and
come
we
back-
created that word.
Sure. I was gonna come back and do just a one more cove here in this rough spot before we go on to the bowl gouge or the bowl blank. Shield down.
And these are downhill cuts. If you don't understand, watch how the grain is on this piece. He's cutting downhill in both directions. So he's slicing off. Now, years ago, Ron Radcliffe made a demonstration piece for me using the straws of a broom. And I'm going to get that out and show it to you one day. The bowl had coarse brushes sticking out of it. And that was to show folks, explain to folks how when you did cutting downhill, that you shave off the parts. If you on that one, you went uphill, you'd break them off. Well, just take that piece and unmultiply it. And that's what you're looking at right here.
Eddie, talking about downhill on a spindle, it's literally downhill, going from the outer surface to the inner surface, whatever that is, toward the center of the spindle. So I'm literally going downhill. Even if I'm in the side, on my side of it, it's, if I take what I'm doing here and I turn it up, I'm going downhill, always downhill.
Now, if you went to now let's take it easy, okay? I went down to on what you're looking at on your right side. If I went down that slope and came up the other one pass, what do I get?
Well, it depends on your tool control. If you have excellent tool control and you're practiced at it, you can get it. But chances are, when I'm coming up this hill, right? Let's see. There we go. If I'm coming up this hill right here, chances are I'm going to catch the end of that grain and pop it out.
It's an unsupported cut.
Yeah, it's totally unsupported. And the grain itself can come loose. You could rip this all the way to the end if you're not real careful. Just like we talk about, we don't take the spindle roughing gouge and start on the end. That's because it can catch that grain and rip it all the way down. Same with a skew. We always start where there's wood on both sides. Let me grab it. I'm going to start my skew here. I'm not going to start out here on this end to smooth this down, because I could catch this end grain. Same on this end. I could catch that end grain and rip it all the way down and ruin my piece.
If you wonder how those, you wonder what would happen, and I advise people, do not go play in the shop, power on, and find out if this works or not. Have somebody turn the headstock for you slowly and watch the blade cut. And if you're wondering about the cuts we're talking about, take your pocket knife. Don't turn away from them. Take your pocket knife and pass it down that cove that Doug just cut. Pass it down that cove and then up the other side. And you will see what it does to the wood. See how Doug's doing that? He's watching that blade cut.
Yeah, the Marine Corps turner, Rod, he turned some pins over the weekend with an axe.
It was a blade, wasn't it?
No, it was an axe. He actually used an axe head and turned ink pens with it, showing that you can turn with anything.
But it was a blade, wasn't it? He used it. It was an axe, but he used it like a blade.
Yeah, he used it like he used it like a skew.
Yeah, I've turned the bowl. I've turned the bowl with a soup spoon as a demonstration, and then I was told never do that again. The guy that ran the demo didn't understand what I was going to do. But Doug showed us downhill and uphill is tool control.
Yes. Give me just 15 seconds here and I'll have this switched around so I can, I set my lathe up in the wrong spot and I'm too close to the sidewall over here. So I've got to, here we go.
Eddie, that cutting downhill.
You got plenty of time, Doug. Don't rush.
If you're cutting uphill, try on a pencil with your pocket knife and see what happens when you try to cut it up the hill.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Splits it
Try
right
cutting
out.
Yeah, try sharpening a pencil going from the lead to the wood. You're going to have a difficult time. That's cutting uphill.
And when you do, if you do make it, I novice turner, if you do
Yeah, if you
make
do
it,
make it, congratulations, right?
yeah, but look at the wood really closely because you probably tore out more than you cut off. I love these things where you see the demonstrators on TV or YouTube or whatever, and they got chips flying over the shoulder like crazy. I've had students come to me and say, I want to be able to do that. No, you don't. What you want them to do is stop the motor and zoom in with the camera, and you're going to see what damage he probably did to his wood. And that is when you start sanding. And
that's when that 60 grit comes in.
Or a brick.
And the power sanding, pulling out the drill or the orbital sander.
I got to leave that alone. That group will come burn my house down if I talk about that.
All right, we ready?
Oh, yeah, we're waiting on you, Doug.
Okay, on a bowl. This is just a piece of 2x pine again. That practice kind of wood that you hang on to practice with. Anyway, I put it on here. I got it turned around. I put a little tenon on it. I'm in my chuck. I've got it slightly hollowed, but it's the same idea. You got to think about that grain in the wood and how it's like straws. With the spindle, with our spindle, the straws are running lengthwise, so it's running along the bed. With a bowl blank, they're running perpendicular. There we go, perpendicular to the bed, so it's going up and down or across the bedways. And so our grains are different. We can't go downhill all the time. In fact, when we're turning the backside of it, if we're going to go with that grain to be supported, we want the longer grain underneath us. So we're going to go from the center of the bowl to the outer, the center bottom to the outer top of the bowl. Then when we flip it around, like this one is now, and we're doing the inside, we go just the opposite. We want to go from the outer edge, outer top to the bottom of the center. That way the grain is underneath the wood all the time, but we're still not going to turn with our gouge straight up and down. We're going to turn it on an angle. Now, when we start on the edge, a lot of times we do start with it straight up and down, totally closed, but we have the bevel pointing in the direction that we want to cut in. And then we come around and we open it up slightly. Let's see if I can turn this and hold it all at the same time. We want those curls to be coming off, just like Eddie talks about in his videos. He's talked about it tonight. See how those curls are coming off? And that's not because I'm gouging, but because I'm slicing. I've got the bevel right there at the back edge of the wood. And we're getting curls coming off.
Now, we heard from Ron Radliff. Ron says he believes tool marks are a design element. We talk about tearing stuff out. He said those tool marks can be considered a design.
If they were done intentionally, maybe. I've got a Sorby texturing tool over there that leaves tool marks that I want in the wood. But when I'm using my gouges or my skew, I don't want any of those lines in there.
When I make a final pass with my gouge, I want it to be slick as a baby's, and just all be even. Even is important.
The less sanding I've got to do, the better. I hate sanding. Hate it so bad, and it's mostly because of the dust. I've got a dust collector that's sitting straight out in front of me, probably 5.5, 6 feet. I've got a shop vac right behind the tripod with the outlets. I can reach out and touch the outlet for it, and I bring it right up to the workpiece when I'm sanding, unless I'm doing video or something. But other than that, it's right here, and I still have dust everywhere. I hate it, but the better the cut is, the less we have to sand and the less dust we create. So let me show you a couple of these cuts here.
You said the less we sand, and some folks may be confused about what we're talking and how we're talking. Less sanding means if I go down to 80 grit, I make a couple of passes to homogenize the surface. Then I step up to my next grit, make a couple of passes to homogenize my surface. Step up a little bit and yada, yada, yada. Up a little bit, yada, yada, yada. I don't go back and forth and wear the sandpaper out, and I don't do shape with the sandpaper.
Exactly. Yeah, sandpaper's only to get a smooth, even surface so that we can go on to the next level, whether it's further sanding or the next level in the finishing process.
All right, rock and roll, custom shape.
Okay, here we go.
Look at the flute.
Flute is pointing at about 2 o'clock. Bevel is floating across that back side. I'm not pushing real hard for a couple reasons. One, I want to stay in my cut, but also this is pine and it'll break out. Any softwood will break out. Any hardwood will break out if you push too hard. My left hand is pushing down. My right hand is holding the tool handle against my body. Russ Fairfield used to call this the turning muscle right here. And so, you know, keep the handle to your turning muscle.
I like the way you swept across that bottom. You go and do a divot. You just swept it across. Watch this. Smooth all the way across. This is where you eliminate your tear out. This is where you eliminate your valleys and the pullout that you think I got to fill with glue or anything else. This is slicing off the wood.
Now, somebody said, how do you know those are shavings? Because I can look at them.
Yeah, no.
There is, yeah, you can get dust. If I just plow into here, I get some shavings, sure. That's coming off the top. There's also dust that's collecting up right here into my gouge. Where if I turn that gouge over, it's almost all shavings. And the surface that I get behind there is going to be so much smoother. As Eddie says, it's the difference between cutting and plowing. That's got some lines in it still. There again, that's pine, and I was pushing harder than I should have, but it's relatively smooth. I hit that with my 60 grit just a couple of times, and it'll be ready to go right on up the line.
So hey, Doug, can you
Yes,
take time? Can you take the time now and do a quote unquote proper final cut right there to clean up that line and make that final cut? That way you don't have to do that 60 grit.
Yeah.
Now,
you know what I'm saying?
I just wanted to get that elbow stabber out of the way. It was threatening me.
All right, here's the deal, folks. Watch the tool angle and presentation, because if you think you can't take a whisper thin slice off a piece, watch the tool angle and watch how the technique
If
he
you
uses.
need to sharpen, Doug, go ahead and sharpen.
Yeah, let me do that. Yeah.
Right. Because tool presentation and technique is going to solve that problem. Like I said earlier, a gouge is a terrible name for these tools.
Right.
But that's what they came with.
Makes it sound so rough.
The other thing that Dane just mentioned is when you get ready to make that final cut, go ahead and sharpen that gouge at that point. Because you've
Absolutely.
already cut about 5 miles of wood with it. You should not expect it to still be sharp.
Right.
Exactly.
Because your final cut, you're just doing a very fine removal of stock.
Yes.
And if you've got a sharp edge, you're going to have a pristine edge. And it's going to eliminate a lot of that sanding at a lower grit.
I just made a single pass. I don't have anything special, just the aluminum oxide wheels made a single pass. This is my Doug Thompson gouge. Not that it matters. Half the time I'm using a sortie. Same idea. Get that clean, sharp edge just before the final pass. That's what I did on that camphor. I took the time, sharpened up, and then I could come back and make this final pass that I'll show you.
He just got in and made a very sensitive slice. Get him back on spotlight.
Yeah, I'm looking. I don't know what happened there.
He drove that in. It didn't happen. He drove it in. His piece was symmetrical. It was uniform on the outside edge. He picked at the edge, got a seat, and is now riding the seat down. All controlled by the flute.
Looks like angel hair shavings there.
That's what it's supposed to look like, I believe.
Absolutely.
And it's supposed to curl away. Now he's into what would be a third step cut, because he's coming up on something he didn't take it all the way through a little while ago. He could step up and remove some of it slowly, then go back for one final cut, which is he'll probably do, because too much wood coming off is not going to give you a great finish, especially in softwoods. And he did tell you that this is that expensive stuff called 2x6.
All right, that's better. It's still got a couple little lines. I lit the first cut because I just sharpened. I could let it run a little deep on me. But you know, if I go all the way to the center so it's smooth, even, then I can do a shear cut. A lot of people say you can't do that, but you know, if you watch what you're doing and you turn that edge up, so again, it's slicing and not down here where it's going to catch. You know, I'm up here when I do that on the inside. I got the handle way down low. It's below the bedways completely. So
what he's doing is changing the angle of the slice.
Let's see. Yeah, you can see how steep that is.
Watch what's coming off.
There,
A
you
little
got
bit of fine, super pearlies.
Yeah.
That got rid of it, Doug.
Yep.
Beautiful work.
See, you can rub that in the palm of your hand and it disappears.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I tried to uncoil one of those camphor coils yesterday, and it just disintegrated as I twisted it.
Right.
So anyway, it's still got some tear out. It's pine, and construction pine at that. It's not high grade stuff, but anyway, that's it. That's it.
That's the technique, folks.
Keeping our cuts going downhill on the spindle, literally going down the hill, no matter which direction it is. You can change hands. You don't have to change hands. On a bowl blank, it's still downhill in reference to the grain. You got to keep that grain supporting you underneath what you're cutting.
If you're seeing ripples, it's because you're not working the bevel.
Exactly. Or you're working it too hard.
Yeah, it's jumping out.
And then with the bowl there, that's also with side grain. It's just the opposite with end grain.
Yeah.
And the other thing is,
you got to switch around.
That's where the confusion comes in sometimes for people.
well, the other thing is to describe it like a bunch of straws and have the straws come back like as you're cutting downhill. You'll see if you don't have it supported,
Yes.
it's going to tear it up. It's a good visualization that everybody shows you.
Right.
I know nobody has straws anymore, so sorry, but
Well, that's only in California.
Yeah, we like to use that stuff around the world. And I
Here,
didn't
this is
mean
a
that
piece of-
around the world.
This is a piece of end grain. And again, just like Dane was just saying, on my outside, I want to go toward the center of the piece. But if I'm hollowing it, I really want to start in the center and come around this way.
Cut through
I
the
want to
wall.
hook it out.
Yes.
What is notoriously
center.
called the pull cut.
Yeah. I'd need to take my tailstock off, but yeah, you can take a spindle gouge and you can actually drill straight in and then pull, and you'll pull that on a curve and work your way to the outside. You work your way right down with it.
Hey, questions, anybody? Jump in.
That was a good demonstration. I think it should explain a lot of things to people. And when you can get to do a cut like that on pine wood, you'll do all right when you get into some harder wood. But it takes practice. For newer people, it takes practice. You aren't going to get it the first time.
Nope.
And a lot of times, John, I think you're right. A lot of times people just need to see it.
Yes.
You know, the concept, hearing the concept's one thing. To see it is a whole nother deal.
You're right. Yep.
Good job, Doug.
Thanks,
Very
guys.
good.
Thanks, Doug.
Thanks, Doug. And
you're welcome.
And I got to say, some of us need to see it more than once.
Sure,
Thank
I
you,
do.
Doug.
We're here for you, Brenda.
Yeah.
Excellent job, Dougie.
Thanks, guys.
And I
Add
think
me to
Doug,
that too.
I think Doug has earned this one. I think he's in that 2x14
Yeah, boy.
now.
Oh, yeah.
He's in there.
Might-
So
We might make him
Been
a
there for a
sponsor.
while.
a sponsor? Whoa. Watch that. We can't have that sponsor stuff. We don't have any sponsors, folks. That's not permitted.
If somebody wants to sponsor me, that's fine.
I love it out. Now, he did say he was using a Thompson tool, and somebody said, well, isn't that a sponsorship? No, that's a preference. Because he also said he's got another branded tool that'll accomplish the same thing, which, it's a preference. I've got Sears tools. I've got stuff that came from Harbor Freight, barely tool steel, and I've modified them to be specialty tools. My favorite little box and jar scraper is a Harbor Freight tool, because I said, hey, if I screw it up, what the heck? But it came out right for what I used it for. Thank you, Doug. Fantastic demonstration this evening.
Very good.
All right, we get back to the gallery if you choose, folks, and that's where we heading. But if you got a question or a comment, the floor is yours right now. Now? Not now. We'll go to the gallery.
I'm typing a message here real quick, Eddie.
Oh,
Give me
okay.
1 second.
All right. That's okay. Somebody's got something to show, pop up and show it to us, and we'll talk about it a little bit.
Hey, it's Doug Rowe. I'm home now, so I can show my shop air update.
All right, let's go to Doug. Thanks for stepping up there, buddy.
Yeah, no problem.
I got you.
All right, let me get turned around again. So I talked about I was going to do the PEX, and then Trey went and did a bunch of research. Thank you very much on copper. And then I got to thinking, is there one other way that I could do it? And so I decided, and I might still actually go back to the copper, but for now, what I'm doing is just using my actual airline. So there's the compressor coming off with the regular airline, like any other airline, going up the wall, coming across the lid, and then I just sliced right into it with some Harbor Freight fittings, and then dropped me down. That's just a little 1/4 inch because it's what I happen to have laying around the house, but I'm actually going to go 3/8 once I get some more fittings. But so there you go, coming off the tee. It's got full power, but that's the only drop I've got right now because I need to get more fittings. But you can see I ran the hose all the way down the length of the shop, and then I'm going to come back. And then right here's the actual end of the 3/8 hose. So full power. Now, the downside to the way that I did only one is, I'll show you. At Harbor Freight, that's 1, 2, 3, for 5 little kits at about $2 or $3 a piece just to make that tea. So I was like, well, that's not going to work. So came back home, looked on Amazon, found some other ways to do it. So once those come in, then that's how I'll redo it. And then of course I'm going to have to put some drains in there to get rid of the moisture, just like we would if we would have went with the copper or the PEX tubing. I'll put that in there. But that's where we're at. Shop's already filling up with junk that doesn't belong in here. That's a conference table from my father-in-law's shop office that he's downsizing, but that's just because I'm gonna try and sell it at a garage sale and see if I can make some money off of it. He gave it to me for free. Otherwise, it's pretty nice wood, so it might get chopped up and turned into something if I can't. But it's way too big of a table for me to use for anything. It's a huge conference table. And what else did I do? Hung the picture of my mom and dad in there. I can go see my mom whenever I want, but it's pretty hard to dial heaven. So that lets me see my dad when I want to. And I don't know, I think most of you maybe saw, but got the utility sink is in and hooked up. And got the bathrooms all hooked up. The commode's all working. There's the regular sink to wash your hands and whatever. And then look at that beautiful picture. Man, I never seen it. I got
You're standing in front of it. We couldn't see
You
it.
got manly clothes. It even on. Says.
That's so you can comb your hair, right?
I rock. But anyway, so that's the update. Oh, and then last week, y'all, somebody was asking me what the brand name of my split unit was, and it was still wrapped up, so I couldn't tell for sure, but it is in fact a dial, just like the soap. So there it is, unwrapped now. So I guess it will produce some pretty clean air.
Sweet.
But that's the update for the week. Hopefully next week, the other half of that will be up outside and I'll actually have some cool air in here. But the garage door was supposed to ship today. I don't know if it actually did ship from whoever the heck my general contractor is getting it from. But so hopefully that's here in a couple weeks. I talked about the Omni system, I think last week with you guys. Some of you knew what I was talking about, some of you didn't. But that is all going to go on this wall, and I did order that. That's actually already scheduled to be delivered on Friday, but I'll be out this weekend earning your tax dollars playing G.I. Joe, so I won't be here this weekend to put it up. But so that's what's going to go on that wall. Hopefully, maybe this next Wednesday, but definitely by the Wednesday after, I'll probably have that installed so you guys can see it.
You need to hurry up and get that place built so I can come up and dirty it.
I know, and you know, it'd probably be nice if I got it done during the summer so you could come up to some cooler air, but chances are it'll be December and you'll be like, I ain't coming up there in the snow.
Well, I know, right? It'd be too damn cold.
Yeah.
Right.
Hey,
Thank you.
Doug, I got a question.
Go ahead,
Sure, I'll
Brenda's
make
in.
something up.
Yeah, aren't you the one that made that tool caddy on the wheels?
I did, yeah. You want to see that? I saw you got
Yeah,
your chair.
Yes, I found me one the other day.
Yeah.
Had my nephew with me, and we was driving down town, you know, and he's like, I told him, I said, I got to stop and get that. He's like, what do you want that thing for? I had to go home and get my drill, even take the seat part off of it, just to bring the wheel part home.
So here, I'll show it to
Get
y'all
a picture
again.
of it or something.
If you want to spotlight me again, then I'm in front of it again.
All right.
There we go. Maybe. Am I up?
I got you. Yeah, I got you.
Okay. All right. So this was an idea I got from Mike Peace off one of his YouTube videos, but it is a chair, right? There's the base. So it's still on its wheels, still swivels. And then I just cut some OSB, put the first one on the platform. Then I mounted me an upright 4x4 posts, and then another piece of OSB that I cut out. And then I just use Forstner bits of various sizes to put all my tools and various things in there. Right. And it's essentially a lazy Susan. So the only thing that I didn't notice when Mike was doing his, when I mounted the bottom piece, it was crooked, right? And then I realized, oh, because that's how the chair sits. So then when you rock back, you're sitting kind of flat. So I just had to put a little shim under there, and then that straightened that out. But so this thing will move all around my shop now, wherever I need it to go, spin to whatever I want, through my various chucks on there and whatnot. There's my magnet bowl from, you know, with all the little odds and ends. Got the whatchamacallit vacuum chuck. Got the shield hanging there. So it's all ready to go get used. I just don't have a complete shop to use it in yet.
Yeah, that's good, Doug.
Beautiful. Brent, who on somebody on Facebook or YouTube showed us a chair base they just sacrificed? Was that you, Brenda?
Yeah.
Okay.
Street. Yeah. Yeah, but I like that idea because, you know, I've got a small lathe that I use and a bigger one, and I'm always back and forth, you know, to get the tools. So if I had that, you know, I could just move it from one lathe to the other, you know, and have all my tools there. I love that idea.
Yep. And then, so we had been talking about, I was trying to find that lift, lock, and roll system for the Powermatic, and somebody had put the phone number in the chat room for me, and I called it expecting to get a business, and I didn't. What I got was the man who invented and created the lift, lock, and roll system, and unfortunately, he told me he shut the business down, and that's why none of us can find them at any of the stores anymore. He's not making them anymore. So if you got one, hold on to it. You got a collector's item now.
Wow.
If not, I know somebody that's willing to pay a little money to get one.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Interesting. The things we discover around here. Top of the hour, you tuned in to worldwidewoodturners.org. If you want to show something for gallery, this is your chance to get in. And by the way, we were talking to our first sergeant, Doug Moore, and our first sergeant collects our freedom pens or your freedom pens. You turn a pen and you want to give it to one of our active duty troops. Not just go. It's going to go to an active duty troop. Doug is the guy to take care of us for us because he deals with them. And if you need his address or how to get a hold of him, go ahead. Check our website. There's a link that'll get you Doug Rowe's address, and you mail it directly to Doug. No problems. And thanks, Doug, for doing that project. That is when we contact the military directly and we have somebody that's active, like Doug is, he's the first sergeant. Then we get results, and that's what we're looking for. So if you want to be part of that program, turn one. I found some really good looking wood out there today in the shop. And I'm playing with the idea. I need to find some pen kits that'll work for me and then make up some pens. They're great practice. Don't talk down a pen turner. I had a guy who thinks he's an artist say, I don't do pens. My response to him was, when you get better, we'll let you try. It is an art. All right. Get a lot of comments on our request for expansion information. It's kind of flipping me over, but it's what we're asking. And the deal is this. If you like us to expand this program, move this program, change this program, we want your input on it. You can put it in our chat or you can email it to me if you're catching this on the flip. Email it to us at worldwidewoodturners@gmail.com. That's our club address, worldwidewoodturners@gmail.com. And we'll collect all the information. Then I'll let you know where the world stands with this. And you always have to remind you, it's your club. You make the decisions. We picked this date and it's time when we got started. That was meeting with my advisory team because I don't have a board of directors. I don't have a sales manager. We don't have a program director. We have you. And that's all we want input from you. So do we have gallery, Dane?
Yeah, we do. We've got a few up here. Let's go to the Great Peach State and see how Bill Goff is doing.
Hey, Bill.
Okay.
You talking?
Yes, I a lot of talk about birdhouses, and I made some birdhouses, and I did a little twist on it. Whoops, too bright. Let me see if I can. Yeah, that's better. Okay. This is one of the birdhouses. The difference is it's a toothpick holder.
Oh, that's cheating.
Yeah, that is cheating, isn't it? So it gets an excuse to leave it on the table. See?
That is sweet.
And then you just take it, you lift it up, toothpicks come out, get your toothpick, put it down, you still got a bird. You got a bird house.
That's nice. I like that. You turn those toothpicks out of 2x4s?
Actually, I have no idea what this wood is. It's a tree that grew on my son's property in a wooded area. We cut it down, and it's got neat grain. This was my first one. I made this to be a toothpick holder, and I thought, well, hey, I could. That looks enough like a birdhouse. I'll make a birdhouse out of it. So I added the birdhouse, and now again, it's a toothpick holder and a birdhouse. And it can sit on your table, and then to look at it, you think it's a birdhouse. You want a toothpick, and lift the lid up.
I
That's
like that.
I like
Good.
And that's an attention grabber. That's sitting on the table is going to make everybody want to put their fingers on it. I mean, that's it.
Now I've seen toothpick holders, and I've seen birdhouses. I haven't seen anybody combine them. So I don't know if this is new or it's been done hundreds of times. But this is my version of it.
Oh, we have to go to the Birdhouse Master right there.
It's new to me.
Well,
Did you turn those toothpicks out of 2x4s? You could be in the 2x4 club too.
Well,
and the Birdhouse Club.
Yeah, like I said, I have no idea what this wood is, but it's interesting. It's got some nice grain to it, and I've got a couple more versions in the works, and maybe I'll share them with you later on next week or so.
We'd like to see it.
It's
very good. Thanks, Bill.
Big pardon?
What's your finish on it?
The Parvex, the CA glue. And I wish I knew what this tree was. It's pretty hard, but they're just very small trees. They're only about, 8 inches in diameter, pretty tall. And we cut them down. I thought it was going to be junk, but it turns pretty nice. I'm curious to figure out what kind of wood that is.
I love it. I love the idea and the concept, the detail. It's really a nifty.
Yeah, you should send me some, and I'll try to figure it out.
Next week, I'll have a project I think you'll find interesting if I get it done.
All right.
That's the plan.
Wow. All right, Bill, you had a great one this week. I mean, you got us paying attention right now.
Had anybody seen anybody combine?
No, I've never seen that.
Nope, you got the award for that one.
Okay.
Made my heart skip a beat.
As a carnivore, what I see there is a way to catch a bird and then take a toothpick out to pick my teeth after I'm done eating it.
Yeah. Okay.
I think when you got the birdhouse man scratching his head, I think you did a pretty good job.
I gotta agree with you. When a master goes, whoa, you did good.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
And Bob was sitting there saying, how come I didn't do that?
Gave me a new idea.
Right.
Bob
Yeah,
Moffitt.
Good stuff. That's good
Bob
stuff.
Moffitt's our birdhouse master. And
right.
we're always looking for this kind of input. I like that. We've done some challenges on this program where we've asked you to turn something and show it to us or give it away. And that hence the Freedom Pen Project, the Wigstand Project and other ones. I always like to see club challenges where there is a goal. I've been in several clubs and I've been to many, many clubs for demonstrations and meetings. And I've seen some that take this challenge thing to the 10th degree. I mean, we've seen it. Matt Harbor shows some of his pieces. We've had Alfred has shown us pieces that they developed for club challenges. And the club will say, okay, next month the challenge is turn a toothpick holder. And you see Bill just turned that toothpick holder. Bill would have walked away with it. But we do challenges to test your techniques. and I'm always open for ideas, always. And I'd like to get some ideas from y'all on that. What would you challenge another turner to work that can include seasoned turners, novice turners, folks who really are creative, and folks who really need to follow the footsteps? So come up with an idea, share it with us, and we'll see where we can go. Let's go on to more gallery here. We're on worldwidewoodturners.org. Doug Chandler in Tucson handles our gallery. You have something to show, you put it in our chat, and we'll go over to you. Doug will introduce you, put you on spotlight,
All right.
and you can talk about it.
Let's go with Ray Worley. Hey, Ray.
Hey.
Hi,
can you hear me now? Yeah, but Ray, you're out in the water.
I don't see you. All I see is a bridge.
Uh-oh. I thought I had my picture up here.
No.
Okay, you need to go
wanting
to
to
Ray. Go to Ray on HSV. I had to do 2 devices to get a camera.
Go to what?
Ray at HSV.
Okay, I got it.
Okay.
All right, there he is.
There you go. Thank you. I may have shown this one last time, but I am not entirely sure. It is a box elder bowl, about 8 inches by 4 or 5, and a walnut top on it. It's a little tight, got a pop on it. And the finish on that is, I think it's wipe on poly on this one. It's really a pretty, I'm trying to see what I'm showing here. Pretty nice.
Try to hold it by your shoulder.
Over here more?
No, a little bit closer to your face, but shoulder distance.
Okay, there we go. How's that?
Yeah, that's good. You rotate it down a little bit, the top portion. There we go.
Kind of a flying saucer shape.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Yeah. I've enjoyed, that's a pretty one. That's one the wife's keeping.
What'd you use to hollow it? What'd you use to hollow it with?
I use, well, either a hunter with a little hook tool, or I use a round carbide with a hook that a couple of us got together and made. So it's a homemade thing with one of Eddie's round cutters on it.
Nice.
Works
Yeah,
pretty
looks
good.
good. Good job. And what was your
Okay,
finish?
one more. This is new. I know I didn't show this one to you before. I have no idea what this wood is. It's heavily spalted.
Mm-hmm.
And it was originally a 2-way crotch. This is a branch going this way, a branch going this way, and this is the main stem.
Bring it out there, Ricky.
Can you rotate it around so we can see the inside?
There we go.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
And it's got the
Nice.
natural
Yeah, it's got
finish.
some good coloring in it.
Beautiful
And
grain.
then
That is beautiful.
The surprise to me, I brought it up with my tenon on it to show the wife the different finishes. And she said, well, can you leave that stand on it? It looks nice with it. And so I had to go back and clean up my tenon on it's 100 millimeter jaws. I had to clean that up.
Wait, you didn't clean up the tenon, you cleaned up the base.
The base,
Or
now
the
it's the
stand,
base.
yeah,
It wasn't
yeah.
tenon, now it's the base. But I've
That's what the wife wanted. You do it.
You bet, you bet.
Yep.
So I've enjoyed working with this spalted wood. Probably somebody else wouldn't want to mess with it, but I like it.
Yeah, it's pretty. I like spalted wood.
Did you guys see the koala bear? Turn that
I'm sorry?
down. I put a koala bear in there.
Oh, man.
In that Spalding, it looked like a cool. I love there.
Go kind of like right here.
I don't know where it's at now.
Yeah, that's it.
I'm gonna go back to turning regular wood. This green wood turning,
looks
no
like
inhaling
Snoopy.
stuff.
Right above your fingers looks like Snoopy.
Well, I see a, well, right there at the bottom, that's a fox head.
I
Fox
wait.
racing.
There's a lot of stuff in there.
Oh, look, look,
Okay.
there's a camel right
Looks like a
there.
moose
looking
head.
at you. Got the eyeball, got the nose, got the hump in the back.
Yeah, but all I see is a bowl.
I see Elvis.
Elvis. Elvis is in the building.
Yeah, Ray, there's a lot of character in that piece.
Smoking.
Okay, I wanted to make a couple of comments too, if I could, real quick.
Yeah,
I wanna
absolutely.
Thank you. Last meeting we had, you pointed out that that recall on the Respironics.
That was Ronnie.
Respironic
Yes.
CPAP machine.
Yes, sir.
Right on. Even my healthcare provider didn't know about that.
Yeah,
And I found 4 of my friends that are on that recall. And it wasn't turning, but it was certainly useful information.
they not moving fast, so you're going to be on the list. I don't know what's going to be the outcome of this, but you need to report that to your doctors so he can get you off of that machine.
Okay. Well, I'll have to go to the doctor with that, but I just went to the healthcare and got me on the list. The other thing, the demo last time on honing, that was a hit and a half. That's just been really, I kept wanting to hone the sharp part instead of staying on the heel. And that's made a world of difference of taking that tip that we got and making it work.
That's good.
All right, thank you all.
Yeah, again, that's what we're here for, folks. Sharing tips and hints and ideas and technique. Remember the deal, I can't teach you how to turn, I can teach you how to use your tools. And that's it. And that's what Doug did for us tonight. He showed us what uphill, downhill is, and he used the tool and he made a pass going down the inside of that bowl for the final cut that you really, really needed to watch, because he was riding the bevel, guiding the tip, not muscling it, and allowing that tool to slice the wood out of the way. That was a great demonstration. Appreciate it. Charlie Bundy's on the same route I'm on. We both need some of whatever y'all drinking to see koala bears on that bowl.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, who else we have, Dane?
Let's see. We got Terry in Texas. Terry, go ahead and start talking. I'll bring you up.
Yeah, how you doing? You got me up there?
Yeah.
A couple of weeks ago, I showed you the earring stand that I made.
Yeah.
And was showing it, and it took only a little bit of while before Joaquin had me on the phone wanting me to demo it for our club. So it wasn't very long. So I got thinking about it, went out to the shop, started preparing for a demo, which we'll be doing this Saturday. And I'm going to put Joaquin and Glenn into trying to do the video on it, so maybe we can show it if I don't mess it up and blow anything. But anyway, I got thinking about it, and I said, you know, that would be a pretty nice thing if I made a big one to hang my Christmas ornaments on. Well, then I got to thinking, which is always dangerous, and I decided, well, I like smaller Christmas ornaments. So I went to work in making smaller Christmas ornaments. I think you got a pretty good view of them, don't you?
And they don't have to come in pairs.
Birdhouses. Yeah, there's one of Bob's birdhouses, and tree, the angels, bells, snowmen, and the Holy Bible. All of these ornaments were made out of 3/4 inch square stock. Most of them are about 7/8 diameter and about 1.5 inches long. And this thing, don't try that at home. That was a challenge. I made 11 or 12 and 4 lived. So, but I had quite a bit of fun doing it. They're all real small. You can put my finger against them. So maybe you can. You see some of their sizes. And a couple more Bob's Birdhouses in different categories. And some home and that's that. And maybe next week we'll show you how the demo come out.
Great. You see, Dane, Joaquin put the hook on him right away. As soon
Yeah.
as he showed it. And Joaquin's in there tonight someplace. But that's the way to do it. You see the talent, you go for it.
We'll put the hook on Joaquin to make the video demonstration.
I saw Joaquin at the City Droza, didn't I, Joaquin? Thought he was in here tonight.
No, he's there.
He's there. Joaquin, you have it on off or mute or what? But I thought I saw Joaquin the other day on the
he's got his
Cindy
video
Droza
on.
program.
He might have stepped away.
Okay. We're still talking wood turning here, folks. We shut down at 9 o'clock. That's 41 minutes away from now. And we all go home in our lathes and have a good time. And in fact, Terry's idea with the ornaments on this little, that is so cool. And you turn those ornaments, he's absolutely right. Is Kim with us? No. So I can say this. It's a great way to use shop scraps. We're not permitted to use that term when Kim's with us because it's not shop scraps, right, Dane? It's what? Turning wood.
No, it's not.
It's turning wood.
Yes,
So,
it is.
all right.
What is
But
it
that's a
Bob
great-
says? It's wood waiting to become something.
Yeah.
Small pieces of wood waiting to become artistic creations.
Yes, yes. There you. I knew you would chime in and correct me. So we accountants got to stay together here.
That's right.
Oh, all right. Let's go to Pennsylvania and see what Randy's got tonight. Randy.
Hello, Randy.
Yep, I'm here.
Go ahead, please.
You got something up for gallery
Yeah,
earlier.
I have, if I can find it.
Said something about you had a tool handle.
Yes, I have a tool handle. I want to share my screen, but I don't see.
I don't permit open sharing until I turn it on.
Oh,
and now it's available. Okay, if you can share screen, we can be there.
Now you can do share screen.
It's on your bus now.
I'm sorry, I can't. I don't have my bar on the bottom of my screen.
Grab the header and move it up on the screen. Grab the header and move it up. If it drops down below the bottom of the screen, then the bar goes away, the operation system goes away. Or minimize.
No. Sorry, that's not going to work.
Okay.
Just go on. I'll come back later.
Okay.
All right. Go back. I turn off share when we're in club meetings, because if it's wide open and somebody pops in and says start share, sometimes I can't undo that. And it's happened once tonight, but it happened again last week. So if you want to share something, let us know. We can turn it on for you. But that kind of keeps the bus going completely out of control.
Yep.
Okay, now my share is working.
Okay, I'm going to go back to. Can you key him? Can you key him up, Dane?
Yeah, I'll bring him back up.
All right, there it is.
This is a tool that I made. Overall length about 20 inches, and I decided to laser engrave the handle.
That's nice. The laser engraving is nice.
This is the tip of it. It's pointed on the end, and it makes it much easier to get deep into a bead or cove. And I made a piece of heat shrink tubing that I shrank over the tip to protect it, just to keep my blood inside. And I engraved it with my laser engraver. I did not put a piece of tape over it, so I got a little bit of flare on the engraving. I may have to sand that off, but
Us engravers call that panache.
oh, and I put on, and the ferrule is a piece of copper plumbing fitting. So
once you start using it, you'll never even notice that blemish.
probably not. I'll probably wear it off in the first couple of weeks. So
yep.
Well, I keep telling you, it's not blemish, it's panache. Got to pronounce it right.
I think it looks nice that way.
Really is
Yeah,
nice.
I like it like that.
Randy, can we go back to look at that tool tip, please? The photograph of the tip. I've got 2 pennies rubbing right here. I want to drop into this. So Randy's back again. We're looking at the tip of his tool. Back up. There we go, right there. Now, you see how he pointed that bar? And the set screw for that diamond cutter is right at the break. Now, if you look at the diamond cutter, that is what it looks like. And it's supported all the way out to the tip. Randy was 1,000% on it being exact. That is exactly what you want to support. Otherwise, you have a carbide, which does not flex, tool hanging out over the end of a bar, and it'll cut 1 time, 2 times, but you'll break it off. Where that is a great detail tool. Randy, thank you so much.
yeah, I've seen that. I've seen people break those tips off, or in fact, I've seen them break even square carbide cutters.
All of them, they have no flex. They have absolutely no flex. That's the beauty and the beast, is that they cut great, but they have no flex. And Doug Miller was showing us a little while ago about making a cut where he went in and rolled it over to make the slice. Guess what that works on? That works on your gouges, your skew, your scrapers, and all these carbide tools. They all work the same way. That wood is moving in front of you, and it is moving at a rate of speed you determine. But then you bring a cutter up. And if you bring a plow to the field, you're going to tear up the field. But if you take a knife to it, you'll remove it. And that's what I'm talking about. What Randy just showed you, the way that tool is made with that kind of support, you can go in a slight twist on it, and that thing will slice. Awesome. Thank you, Randy. See, we get a lot of share on this thing.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you, Randy. Well, it's so good to see people making their tools and then sharing how they made those tools. Randy, I got one more question. Which laser engraver did you use?
I have a laser pecker.
Does it have a gimbal to turn the item side to side, or is it straight down?
It's straight down.
Okay.
It's called a laser pecker. Looks like a hockey puck.
Oh, I've seen that. I've seen that. I was told I can't have one, but I've seen that. Yeah. It's not like I could carry in my pocket and leave my name anywhere. So who else we have for gallery tonight?
Well, we got our safety director, Jeff.
Jeffrey's with us.
I already showed it before.
Oh, you already showed it?
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, sorry.
That's okay.
Well, with that being said, then I'll spotlight myself and show a little bowl I made today.
I'd like to see that. I gotta know what kind of wood that is.
So I've been doing a lot of rolling pins here for the last few weeks, and so I took some time out to turn a bowl because I just love turning bowls. So made a little candy dish, pedestal candy dish. And it's mesquite, and it is finished in a concoction of spar urethane mixed with Varathane oil poly, diluted 50-50 with denatured alcohol.
Why?
And so I've got 3 coats on here.
Yeah, why you did that mix?
So I wanted the polyurethane mix, and I wanted to have the UV protection offered by the spar.
Aha.
And so I dilute it with the denatured alcohol because a thinner finish will allow you to put it on, it dries quicker, and it allows you to build up coats quicker. And so that's why I dilute all my finishes, trial and error, and I figure out what works, and that's the mix that I go with. I put them in small bottles. I use vape juice for the e-cig users out there, so I collect these from some of my friends here locally. They drop them off to me, and I have a various concoctions of stuff in these. Pretty much I'll use it up within a month, refill, and don't have to worry about the finish that I've made going bad. But yeah, so this is a new mix. I haven't tried it before, and thus far I'm kind of happy with it. I think I need to dilute it a little bit more, because it goes on still heavy with the two put together along with 50% denatured alcohol. But yeah,
it's not fingering up. You've handled it a pretty good bit, and I don't see your fingerprints all over it, so it's not fingering up.
Yes, that's also another bonus that I noticed from it.
It won't react to skin oils quickly and give you blotches.
And so I think that's from the spar urethane.
Ah,
but you're right.
Because that's an outdoor finish.
Resist moisture.
And the wood is mesquite. Black.
I like it.
Looks beautiful.
Yeah.
Dane, just a question on your thinner. You're using alcohol. Why did you choose that over mineral spirits?
Because denatured alcohol flashes off quickly.
Okay. Okay. Mineral spirits is the more natural thinner for your poly. That's why I'm asking. But
yeah,
if
so
it's working,
I've always used DNA, and I've always had great luck with it. Whether it's tongue level, wipe on poly, and from this, I'm kind of happy with this. And of course, I still got to wait and see how it holds up. Should the wife wind up keeping it, or if I'm allowed to sell it. So, but she's kind of in love with it. She likes the pedestal on it with the half bead at the bottom.
That's not a tenon, it's a real pedestal, right?
Yeah, it's an actual.
Just want to get the nomenclature right, that's all.
Works
good.
good.
Yeah, it did have a tenon, and then I, took it off. Yep.
It's a beautiful
good,
piece. Really
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yes, it is.
Felt good to do a bowl, It was nice.
Jane,
Yeah.
could you put that mixture ratio up for some of the rest of us if you get it perfected?
Yeah. Let me figure out. I think I need to dilute it a little bit more, but yeah, I'll be more than happy to do it.
Yeah, share it to us on chatter.
Sure.
You know what's better? Our webmaster's got nothing to do. Send it to him, and he'll put it up on our website.
Absolutely.
I mean, right? I mean, he's just sitting around. I mean, watch him. He's sitting.
Yeah, he's got nothing better to do, right?
Yeah. It looks like he's in the tropics or something. Is he still
Eddie,
there? Did he quit?
So Eddie, we don't have anybody up for gallery, so you feel like doing the CA and Varnex?
Sure. I'm all for that.
All right,
I'm going to be away from camera for a minute, and Dane's going to do the spotlight, and he's going to do a little demo for us as soon as he's up. So I can switch over and put him a spotlight. There he is.
Let's see. I'm gonna put you guys in the front here.
Wow, Eddie's not here. What the heck are you?
So is the light intrusive for y'all to look at, or is it better without the light?
Better without the light.
All right. All right, so I've got one of my Coca-Cola tool handles on. Or tool hand, rolling pin handles, and what I'm gonna do, and so it's been cut with a skew. It's smooth. It's like coming off of a plane. Yeah, so it's ready to be finished. And so we're just gonna do a little bit of Parfix 3408. I need to put some safety devices on here. And grab a piece of napkin, which I've already got laid out. And then we'll spin it up and we'll go from there.
Okay.
So I use a napkin, but I cut it in half. So I only got a half a napkin. Then I flip it. And I'll use it as such here. And we'll take the top off the bottle. That way we can get at proper drippage. I'm gonna run the lathe at about 130 RPMs. 160 is good.
Oh, that number's so critical. Come on.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's at 163 now. So
163. All right. Make
but it's
note.
all right. If you keep it, my preference is to keep it below 200. So here we go. This is really sophisticated. So you take the bottle, you invert it, put your napkin at the bottom of it, and you just drizzle. And you run your napkin back and forth. Oh, gotta make sure you get that. Of course, it's oblong here, so you got to hold your napkin there a little bit longer. You want to get the back side.
Now this is Parfix 3408.
Parfix 3408. So now I'm going to, so here's the front side of the napkin. Now I'm going to turn it around on the back side here. Ooh, well, I got to get the inside front here. My handle, can't ignore that. Now I'm just going to flip my napkin over on the back side, the opposite side. And I'm just going to run that back across. Just wipe up the excess that might be there. Also known as the ridges, that those other brands that you got to sand off. And so now I'm going to wipe off my nozzle so it stays nice and clean and you don't have all that gunk on there. And then you take your cap and you put it back on and you put it back up. Now you're done.
Wait, you done?
Yeah, I'm done. And so I'm going to take my glove off. Oh, I forgot to show Brenda. Oh, doggone it. Let's see. What, finger out? No napkin. No napkin stuck.
Okay, Brenda, you got that?
Okay, so you could spray it with activator. And the activator for that is Parfix 1144, but I prefer to let it cure on its own. So I'll let it do that here for about the amount of time it takes me to take this off of my chuck here, and then we'll hook up the buffing wheel and play with it and do the final shine on it. Let me plop my chuck out. So this is a collet chuck that I was holding it in, and what I'm unscrewing right now is the drawbar that you want to use on anything, any Jacob's chuck or collet chuck or anything like that, to securely hold it in place. That way it doesn't go flying out. Yeah, nobody's ever done that before, right?
Oh, boy, I had a hard time explaining to people what a drawbar and the beauty of it is. If it's a Morse taper and you're putting pressure that could come outward, drawbar's got to be there.
Yep. So now I'm putting my Jacob's chuck in, and I'm putting in my drawbar for it.
Novice turners, that's going through the headstock and catching that quarter 20 or 3/8/16 hole in the back of it.
Yeah, so this is quarter 20 for the Jacob's chuck. For my collet chuck, it's an M10 millimeters, it's a 10 millimeter thread. That's all it takes to put one of them in.
And those drawbars change in SAE and metric. So go to the hardware store with the chuck. Make sure you have the right thread.
Absolutely.
You can make anything go in one time, but might not come apart.
Okay, so for my buffing wheel, I keep everything backed up if it needs to be backed up, you know, to prevent dust from collecting. And we do work in a wood shop. So if it needs to be backed up to prevent dust, then back it up.
So I got what, about a 3/8 inch smooth shaft on it?
I've got a 1/2 inch all thread piece on here in between my secure and the buffing pad. And I've got triple lock nuts on in between two washers. Actually, it's a 1/2 inch, so it's 11/16 hex head, 1/2 inch threaded bolt pinned between two washers, and then I've got a double locking nuts on it to prevent it from unscrewing. All right, and here's my Varnex. I keep that in a bag as well. Then I keep the Varnex in a sulking cracker wrapper. It comes in paper, but you know, obviously the paper is going to rip and tear up on you. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to spin this up. But for that, I need to go get my safety goggles. Those I keep on my grinder. And I'll show you how I keep my safety goggles. Now you could use a Crown Royal bag, or you could use, you know, if your wife is into jewelry and whatnot, so she gives me her James Avery's jewelry bags, and so I use those to keep my safety goggles in. And look, they're all nice and clean, no crap on them. You pop them on your head. Not that this stuff is going to hurt or anything, but I find it aggravating when it comes off. Hits me in the eye. So I'm going to spin this up about, I don't know, 2,500. I'm going to load up the wheel. Can you hear me all right?
Gotcha.
I'm just going to load it up. I'm going to spin up a little bit higher. Put it at 3 grand. All right, glue is nice and dry. So you see it's kind of dull, right? Actually, it does kind of look shiny. There we go. When you're buffing it, you want to keep it at about 7 o'clock. Think of the clock face. 7 o'clock here, 7 o'clock there, 7 o'clock there. And that'll keep it from grabbing and wanting to pull you under. And you don't need to mash on it. You just need to run it over. And I'm not going to worry about this section because the tendon's going to go inside the rolling pin. So not a big deal. Now to get the flat side. And I'll do it like this, and I'll load the wheel up one more time. And that's all it takes. This block has been, now you can kind of see where it's skewed, but it started off about this tall. And so I've used maybe 3/16 of an inch, and it's 2 years old.
How did you buy it?
And so if there were any imperfections left from the glue, then this will take it off. Now let me wipe off the dust from my high-tech piece of equipment that I wear every day.
Oh, yeah, that's special.
Yeah, you know. Here we go.
I see the difference. Tip it again, see the head. Let's see the head. Right there. That now comparing that to what you showed us a while ago, there is quite a difference. If novice turners wonder, well, does that really matter? Grooves and lines, no matter how fine, attract light and distract you from the actual beauty
That
of
is
the wood.
just smooth, so smooth.
Yeah.
And it's shiny. You got a layer of plastic on there embedded in that wood grain that is now waterproof, fingerprint proof, alcohol proof. Yeah.
It's for a rolling pin. Think about what it's going to make contact with.
Right? Dough proof. So yeah, it's a great thing. And oh, and by the way, you're done.
Yes. And if you got to buy a kit to get those wheels, check your local lapidary store, rock shops. And I'm not talking rock shops with the Beatles and the other people. This is a rock shop where you do lapidary work. They have those wheels. And the finer ones are good for buffing. This looks like it's a fabric wheel, not finer, but it's a flapper. It's not sewn all the way to the edge.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of sheets of this, you know.
Probably muslin.
Canvas.
It's real fluffy, like velvety on one side, and then it's kind of rough on this side, you know, on the other side, you know, but I don't know how many are in there, but there's a crap load, obviously. And like I said, and it's just pinched between two washers. You know, it's got its own leather seal that it came with, but I modified it, took off the shaft that it came with because it was too short for me. And I wanted to have my hands away from the serrated jaws here on your Jacob's chuck and be able to keep the piece further away from it. So, you know, so I put on a 6-inch bolt. Works great.
Nice idea.
You know, and so like I said, you know, I use a saltine cracker wrapper to keep the Varnex in. You know, fold it back over and I'll put it back in the Ziploc bag, and I'll put this back in the Ziploc bag because you don't want dust or wood chips accumulating on that and then scratching up your surface on the piece that you're trying to make shiny. And then, yeah, you know, and then from that, you know, I'll put my goggles, my eye protection back in the little bag, pull the line on it, and they reside over here on right in front of my grinder. There's my grinder, and they sit right there. And so before you turn it on, put it on.
Good move.
How you like that little moniker, Jeff?
That's a good tip on the Ziploc bags. And what's the difference between the thin CA and the 3420 or 3480, whatever?
Couldn't hear you.
3460.
Do what?
What's the difference between the thin CA and the Parfax?
Okay.
You mean other brands?
Yeah, like say Starbond or whatever.
So
Okay.
I don't have the exact microns down or anything like that, but your typical thin CA is something like 100. And the Parfix is 40. So it's much thinner and it seeps in quicker and faster.
Oh, okay.
So you're getting better penetration. Not to mention the fact that it is a totally different formula than the regular CAs that are out there on the market, you know, because the regular CAs out on the market is for putting model planes together and stuff like that. This is medical grade CA. So it's totally different. It's not a
There are two bases, and this is a
an
totally
acetone base. So the majority of the CAs out there are an acetone base.
correct.
This CA has no acetone in it. And of course, we know acetone breaks down the CA, kind of defeats the purpose.
Isn't it also odorless?
It is also odorless. It's bloomless. You don't get the white bloom. It doesn't make the smoke, and it does not get, as you're applying it, it doesn't get hot. You know, I know, you know, if you're using other CAs out there, I haven't come across one prior to Parfix that does not get hot and or smoke, or if you put too much on, makes that white bloom.
Looks like you have more working time, longer working time with it.
Yes,
Much
absolutely.
longer.
Yeah,
Probably
yeah,
20 to
yeah, I was trying to demonstrate that on purpose, you know, about the working time on it.
Right.
probably 20 to
Yeah,
30 times as long you can work with it.
You would not be able to do that with Tight Bond or BSI or Mercury Flex or Starbond or
Yeah, with regular CA, when I use it on pens, I can wipe down once and maybe back the second time before it's starting to grab the
Right.
paper. It's really quick.
And then so for pens, there's an even thinner type. I think it's called 30. Its formula number is 3460, and that's made specifically. Actually, I think it's thicker. That way, it doesn't glue up your bushings and whatnot. But yeah,
But Dane, do you know a price differential between the Parfex and regular CA glues?
so an 8. Yeah, so I know BSI for an 8-ounce bottle costs at the woodworker's source where I get it at here in Tucson. An 8-ounce bottle is right around $47, and I can get an 8-ounce bottle shipped to my door far cheaper through Mark Soleil.
Okay.
That was a good tip about the Ziploc bags too.
Yes.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, you know, if it's gonna be dust or particle related and you want to keep that away from it, I seal everything up in a Ziploc bag and try to keep it that way, because it only takes a minute to put it in, take it out. So
Takes you longer to clean those safety glasses than it does to put them in a bag. And every time you rub on them, you scratching them.
yep, absolutely. You're putting a crack on it. And if
Yep.
there, you know, should there be any dust that seeps through one of them bags, all you got to do is take your air device and blow it off. You don't have to rub it off, wipe it off, clean it off.
No, friction's your enemy. So thank you, sir. Appreciate you sharing this with us.
Oh,
You
you're
know,
welcome.
we spotlighted you a little while ago so you could show something you turned. And I think I'm going to flip that around. So right now I've got this piece, and so I can get it in the right position like the rest of y'all, left-handed, right-handed. This is a piece I made out of Paduke. Well, go back. Paduke and some maple, figured maple, and it is rather thin. It's about 1/8 of an inch thick. It's 16 dots on a cut, and these I did on a jig that I was just fine tuning to get it right, and it came out good. Except it was 4 rings taller when I started sanding it, and I got aggressive like we all do, and I decided I'm going to take a piece of sandpaper on my fingers and go inside. But hey, while it's spinning, why don't I just take another piece and put it on the outside? Somebody want to tell me what I did?
Yeah. No,
Too much heat.
Made it 4 rings shorter.
I melted it.
You made it divot on both sides.
Yes, I overheated the glue.
Oh no.
And I mean, as I'm holding it, rubbing it, my wife is saying, that's going to look so good. It's like a bud vase. And it's coming right off the machine. Just, and I had to get my hands away from it and wait to see how far down it would go. I still had to take 1/2 of a ring off because it did that much damage. But that's when you find out sanding is not always your friend. Hey, it's been a great evening, folks. It's like a dream come true when I get to sit down with you for folks on a Wednesday evening. We invite you to bring all your friends, all your family, spread the word through your club members, get them in there. And if you could add to our program, no, I'm sorry, I said that wrong. If you can add to your program, come forward. Let us know. Show us what you want to show us. I mean, the people we've seen tools manufactured tonight. We've seen tools used tonight. We've seen some beautiful laser engraving done tonight. We've seen some ideas about things you can turn, including ornament holders and earring holders and some fantastic artwork. Stuff you turned. We're non-commercial. We don't endorse anybody's products or anything, which you just heard about on the Park Fix 34.8. That's his preference for what he uses. Now, I like CA Finish. I don't necessarily use that product. And I play around with other products. So if you want to do something like it, there are other options. Explore those options, come up with an idea, and when it does work, let's get together and share it again. Okay? Because it's nothing, no such thing as secrets to wood turners. I got none. You got none either. I see a couple of folks popping in. Susan got in late. She says, thank you, Dane. Appreciate it. And for all those folks that are on the Florida and Carolina coast suffering through this tropical storm, hope everything goes well for you. It will come to an end, pass on, give you a little bit of rain. If you get too much rain, box it up and send it to Idaho. Idaho would love to have some rain. So if you get too much, right? I understand that was Idaho that said he needed it?
Arizona.
Arizona
Needs that water.
Oh, Arizona, yeah, right. For
Yeah,
desert,
right.
for
My
desert,
mountain is on fire.
for desert wildfires, they need water. For desert, that's the beautiful part. Desert wildfires. All right. And I asked you earlier this evening to give us your opinion on if we expand, reschedule, change, whatever, your club meetings. And I always use that term. It is your club meetings. If you have input on it, you can put it in our chat and you can save the chat tonight, folks. Our
Hey, Eddie, there's a Mike Tebow has something to show.
Mike, talk for a minute. Mike?
Yeah, I'm here. Hello, hello.
Mike, did you turn your video on?
Yes, I do. Yep.
Awesome.
All right. Hey, how you doing?
All right, Mike, we got you now, bud.
All right, good deal. I don't see myself up yet, but I'm going to hold it up. Somebody asked me to make them a magical wand. And I had some plans for one, but this is the practice one I was doing. It's at Asphalted Beach.
That's practice?
Well, yeah, I just cut up some cane blanks I had, and I was going to try some different shapes and stuff, and it actually turned out pretty good, so I put some stain on it. And I had one of those game stores, you know, they play Dungeons and Dragons that my kid goes to. And he had some foam ones for $30, and I was talking to him about wood turning, so it inspired me. He asked me, well, do you make the wooden ones? So I said, yeah, and let me give it a try and see what I can do with it. So, I mean, I guess they go for a lot of good dollars. I mean, some of them are $150 a piece. So I thought, well, if I could do some, I mean, I didn't put any ebony or anything like that, but I know they hollow them out and put little crystals inside the handles. I was doing research on the Harry Potter wand, and it's made out of holly. And then I guess in the movie, the phoenix feather is the power source. So I've been playing with a feather duster, trying to lacquer it up and cut it small enough to stuff in the tube and, you know, see if I can buff up the value of it. So anyway, I'm just having fun with that.
Good.
I need something to support. I need something to support this habit of mine. So, you know, I need to sell something.
Looks great.
Well, thank you.
That's terrible to get.
I was impressed with it. It was bending a little bit here, and so that was a new challenge for me because it was, you know, so I had to support it with my hand. I'll have to figure out something a little bit better. So, anyway.
What kind of dye do you use?
This is a water-based red, and I know the lighting's terrible here. So, and then this is an orange alcohol dye. I just have them in those little squirt bottles, so I was just throwing it in there, and it kind of, this is rather porous, so I put it on there and spun it, so it soaked into the pores and it popped out, and you can see kind of how maybe the colors, I don't know, maybe you can't see it.
Yeah, it's coming through.
Yeah, it looks kind of like a giraffe, or, you know, it's spotted leopard or something, so it did a kind of a neat, what a accidental feature. I don't know.
It's all right. Hey, it's wood. It's got detail.
It was fun. It was fun. Somebody will love it. So anyway.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, main
Appreciate
thing, you
it.
had fun doing it.
Yeah, that's all that matters. And you shared with us. That's it, folks. We're about ready to call it a night. I have to ask all of you to be in contact with us, share the information you have, be part of the program. When we do this, save the chat. And the chat is where we, people throw all kinds of things in the chat. And if you save the chat, you'll have that information available to you, or go to our website, worldwidewoodturners.org. That's where you'll find the answers to all these great mysteries. And if you got something to contribute, please do so. We had a little fun tonight. We learned a few things, saw some great tools, saw some great turning, told some lies, told some stories, and discovered that the desert does burn. So
every summer.
So if you hope you all have a great evening. With that, I'm Captain Eddie Castelin. I'm not the president. I'm not the director. I'm just a moderator, and I'm out of here. Good night, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good night, everybody. Have an awesome week.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, Eddie.
Hey, Ronnie.
Good night, everybody.
Night.
Auf
Keep it
Wiedersehen.
hot. We'll see you
Ching
next
chong
week.
bao.
Good night.
Tracy.
Hooks and mop.